right, how you all doing? Welcome to should we say a midweek space that we're having today. Just to talk economics, this time the economics as regards, government spending, federal, state, that sort of stuff. We have a few questions we want to just talk about and see if we can understand the key issues around the fiscal expenditures that Nigeria makes and if they are optimum. And could we make them better? Now, if you know me right, I always make the statement all the time that Nigeria does not have a revenue problem, that Nigeria has a spending problem. Clearly, there is no organization that does not have a revenue problem. What I'm essentially saying is that Nigeria's biggest problem is not raising revenues, it's spending what has been raised. And there are many examples we can talk about here. From the 4 trillion that we're spending right now to import PMS into Nigeria. We took the 4 trillion, right, from the health and the education budget of Nigeria. So that's a choice. We went to the budget for health, education, took money from there and put it to import PMS. That's a choice. We made that choice to spend 4 trillion. Income is not really a choice. We're blessed with crude oil, we're blessed with cocoa, so we have to export or we can sell and we get the money. But to spend needs, you sit down and be like, okay, I want to do this. There are these choices and I want to do this. So we made that choice, right? And that's the problem I think that Nigeria really, really has. Now, let's forget about the other items, security, corruption, but this issue of the mal-spending, the lack of connecting spending to a plan. We want a library, so we spend 5 billion in the library. In the same country where you have 10 million kids out of school, the highest proportion of kids out of school. But the NAS, not the federal government, the National Assembly will spend 5 billion to build a library in the complex. But right around them, 10 million kids are not in school. Many guys will go through these examples over and over and over and over again. But that's not the point really of our spaces today. There seems to be this fascination, especially with Nigerian governors, with airports. If you tag in airports to this whole issue of Nigeria's problem is spending, then you start to ask a lot of questions. Why are they all concerned with building airports? Why airports? What's so particular about having an airport? Why don't they understand the concept of sunk costs, opportunity costs, and the social capital? Let me say in terms that are not quote-unquote economic. If you take 10,000 Naira and you invest it somewhere and you're not going to get returns back, you've sunk that capital. The cost of that capital is not just the 10,000, it's the cost of what you have forgone. So if you take 10,000 and you buy a car, and that 10,000 could also buy you a motorcycle, the cost of the car is the motorcycle. You have to look at it that way. When you spend, you forgo spending. What you forgo, that's the cost. Economics is really a subject about choices. Because we are human, we have a lot of choice. We want to do this, we want to spend money here, but you have limited resources. So everyone has limited resources. Everyone. So it's all about scale of preferencing and spending right. So you say, hey, I have a budget, so I'm going to take this money, do this, pay my rent, probably buy this or buy that. You simply don't have enough to spend on your entire list, which means if you're, let's be specific, if you're a state government, right, and especially a state governor in Nigeria, your money, apart from, say, Lagos, Delta, and I believe Anambra, those are the 3 states that we understand can survive without FARC. I don't agree with that, but let's go with what we have officially. Your money comes from allocation from the center. So take Abia State, for instance. Their money comes from the center. The bulk of their money complement center. The state can only tax, say, payee. They get the payee, that's what they spend. Any amount of money that Abia State spends on education is money that it cannot spend on health, on roads, on any other expense header. So once you spend here, you can't spend here. This is the reality, right? So when you take money from your very, very scarce budget and you spend on an airport, you are essentially saying that the airport on the scale of preference is higher than health and education. That's what you're saying. That's a choice that you're making in your state. So that's one thing I want to talk about. Why that choice? Why that choice? The second thing I want to talk about is just to explain the concept of the multiplier effect. And I'm going to just post an article I did in Nairametrics. You can Google it. It's just Kalu Aja Nairametrics. Google the recurrent multiplier. And I'm making a case about capital expenditures and recurrent expenditures. Nigerians have been, should we say, indoctrinated to believe that anything recurrent is bad and that the only good spending is capital spending. So when you look at the budget, they always put it there. Capital expenditure is 40%. They want to make sure you see it. So once you see capital is more expended, more recurrent, then that budget has quote unquote passed and is good. This is not true, especially in economics, right? There are some instances where capital is better, and in many instances, recurrent is better. Look at COVID. No one solved COVID by building the road, right? You all got stimulus checks and all that kind of stuff. So there are many instances, and I've been going to the article, I'm going to put it up on Twitter. Guys, please read it and understand this multiplier effect. In some states, an airport is a multiplier. In Lagos State, for instance, if you put an airport in Lagos State, any part of Lagos, Lekki, Ikeja, Ekpe, it's a multiplier to the economy of Lagos, because Lagos is a different sort of economy. If you take an airport and put it in Abia or Jigawa or Ebonyi, it will not have the same multiplier effect as it would have in Lagos. Just like if you took a yam processing factory and you put it in Benue State, it's a multiplier for Benue, but will not be a multiplier in Lagos. Two different economies. Economics is about comparative advantage, knowing where the multiplier will turn 1 plus 1 into 100. Not 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, but 1 plus 1 into 100. That's what we're all about, because our resources are scarce. We're not against airports, but the resources are scarce. You have got to do a scale of preference, and then you have got to spend. Guys, that's my rant, right? I want to hear folks talk, and I can come back and speak, right? So I'm going to post that article real quick on Twitter. I've got Joki, Mark Vic, Onyanga that's requested to speak. Joki, unmute. What's on your mind? Do you agree? Don't you disagree? What do you want to talk about? Do we have a spending problem, or do we have a revenue problem? Go for it.
Yeah, thanks, Kalu, for creating this space and talking about this issue, because I think it's key. So I think from a first sentimental point of view, what we do have in Nigeria is a corruption problem. And I don't want to go deep into like what the issue is around that. I think we could all see it in a black and white, in terms of once a project is allocated, they overinflate the prices and yada, yada, yada. And that's how they keep money to themselves, etc. So all these massive project construction, railways, anything, airports, everything has to do with money. And in order for them to find a way to actually keep this money, or, make that money, just use that money for their own personal or selfish gain, there needs to be a project. The project may be valued as, let's say, $1 million or $1 million, but I mean, by the time they do budget padding, it gets all the way to 50 million, and everybody has money for themselves. So that's the first issue there. The second issue is that if you're to put an airport in any state or in any city, there needs to be data. I'm very big on data, and I love the fact that like numbers don't lie. First of all, you need to look at the location of that state. What is the state actually producing? What is the state actually good at? How much does the state contribute to the general economy of the country? What is the population of that state? Who are the neighboring states around that area? For example, I think I saw one of your tweets. You mentioned that Ebonyi State is just 1 hour away from the next airport. You know, so but correct me if I'm wrong. But those are the things you need to look at. How do I first of all partner with those other neighboring states to actually achieve what we actually want. So there are a lot of data and statistics that needed to be in place before you build an airport, an international standard airport for just you and your family and your friends.
Yeah, to me it looks like it's all of a, well, let's measure dicks. Like let's project ourselves and say, hey, look at what I built. Because an airport is a legacy. I mean, anywhere you build an airport in the world, it's a legacy project, right? That's what I think it's going on, right? There's no data to say what is the multiplier. If I build an airport in Ebonyi or Abia or Jigawa, what will multiply my economy faster, the airport or rail or road or processing plant? Because resources are scarce. Max Victor, what's on your mind, sir? Describe. I hope I got that name right. DSCRB. What's up? Unmute and go ahead, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. I want to say now, I want to ask you a question is, are you actually disputing the fact that airport is actually important for people to actually, for the government to actually put in place some state? I'm trying to get some here. Are you saying that it's wrong for the government to actually have airport as an infrastructure, or what exactly are you trying to say? Please just briefly, then I'll come in again.
I got you. I'm saying that airports are fantastic capital expenditure projects that enhance and create wealth. They link communities and they enhance commerce. The point I make is that states in Nigeria, right, get their revenues from the central source, and those revenues are limited. Hence, they have to spend or invest wisely. You have to do a scale of preference and then invest where you have the biggest or the greatest net effect when you spend. An airport, like I said in Lagos, is a force multiplier. An airport outside Lagos is not the same as a force multiplier. Two economies are different. This is the point I'm making.
Okay, now I get what you're saying. Yeah, if you're going to talk about Lagos, of course, everyone knows that Lagos is just like New York, is a commercial city. So, of course, it's going to be a multiplier, and it's not going to be like the same other states in Nigeria, for example. I don't know the state you're talking about, but the thing is, airports are, I'll say, if the government is actually putting airport in state, I'll say it's actually not a very bad idea, because of course, we have lots of tax revenue that's going to be coming in from the airports, from the airlines operators that are going to be coming in, that are going to be working, staff creation, of course. We're talking about job creations and well, because I know basically very well that, look, I think one of the biggest places where Nigeria actually makes most of very good funds, although I'm not really sure, aside the oil and gas, I think is actually the transport sector. Because when it comes to the aviation sector, look, the taxation that the government alone are actually getting from that angle, man, I gotta tell you, like, it's really, 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 really outrageous. Because so now, if the government is having an airport in these places you're talking about, for example, they are gonna be getting lots of revenue. I don't know, no matter how.
Okay, so let's go there, Max. Let's go there. Like, so that we know the concept of return on investment, right? If I'm going to build an airport, it's going to be minimum $1 billion. Minimum. Let's just say $1 billion, right? $1 billion minimum. Let's just say $1 billion. How much do you think realistically an airport outside Lagos in a hinterland state like, say, Abia will make in a month? Revenues, not even profit, just revenues. A plane lands. How many folks are on a plane? Let's say 100 folks on the plane. What will work it out for me? Like, they walk into the airport. Let's say they all eat lunch there. They take a taxi, and what's the revenue per month? Give me a figure.
I won't give you a figure, but what I'm saying is, I don't even think that's even the most important. I think where the government gets money, more revenue, is actually from taxation, because I know that the taxation
taxing
they get
what?
From airline.
What will they tax?
How can space?
The federal government taxes, not the state. So the state can't tax those airlines. The federal is taxing. Hence, the tax revenues are off the table. The state only makes money from people flying in and staying in the town. But I hear you. Let me get Otumba to come. Otumba, what's up? What's on your mind, sir? Ayan Soladari. Hey, how you doing, sir? Go ahead.
Very good. First of all, I think when you asked what the problem in Nigeria was it revenue or spending problem?
Correct.
It's a revenue problem plus a misplaced priority when it comes to spending. For example, I'm from Osun State, and I don't think Osun is an international airport. I think rather than worry about an international airport, you want to worry about network to an airport in your region.
I love that.
I think you can have 6 regional international airports, and then make sure you have good railway and highways connecting to those airports in those states.
Correct.
So, for example, while a state is trying to expand or improve its production capacity, you let them make it easier for people to transport cocoa from Osun to a Lagos airport or to a Lagos port or whichever port is closer. Then when it gets to a point where the demand on that state for that export produce is more than what can be transported, then you go towards looking at, okay, maybe this state definitely does need export. Because I think when people think of airports, I think the only thing that comes to mind is people travel. Yeah, but not many people are traveling to Osun or Enugu or Zamfara or there's no need. It's what can you get out of that state? What can you export? What produce? So I think, but like you said, Nigerian politicians in the past chase headlines. They want to see a big stadium or this something that has their name forever, especially this airport.
Yeah.
Rather than that yam factory you talked about, or the palm oil extracting factory, or some cocoa processing plants. It's just misplaced priority. We don't look at the rate of travel. We don't need multiple international airports.
And Tumba, you've made the clear point. And the point is that we're not against airports. We're against investing in an airport with limited resources. I mean, like you said, if Osun at the time, the governor got linked with NRC, Nigeria Rail Corporation, and they were doing free rides on the railways. You could build a spur or sponsor a spur line with the Nigerian Rail Corporation because only they can build rail lines and take it to your state and say, if you want to fly on an airplane, the train will take you from Osun directly to the...
Exactly.
You could do stuff like that, right? And
and then you can also do that for goods also.
Exactly.
So you're trying to sell cocoa to someone in Netherlands, and you can put your goods on cargo and then go directly to the airport or to a seaport. Rather than in America, we have a lot of connecting flights. Don't get me wrong, it's almost like every major city. Like I'm in Texas, for example. Every major city has international airport. It does support the more the population, the amount of travel and businesses.
I hear you.
Actually, what cargo brings in is sometimes even on par with what people buying tickets bring in.
You're correct.
You're exporting things, you're flying in, flying out. So, and then you don't even have to go and invest in large airports.
I think, Tumba, you're on point. I completely agree with all your sentiments, exactly on point. And this is basically what I want to hear. Like, let's talk about the issues and just sort of like give a take on it. I completely agree with you, Tumba. Let me get youth. What's this guy? I always say the first name. Youth Peace Ambassador. What's going on, sir? What do you agree with us? Otumba, thank you so much. Mark, speak. Thank you so much. Youth President, go ahead.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Mr. Kalu, I've been seeing much of your tweets about the issue of airports and that is the issue of economy in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So it's very incredible, your tweets.
Thank you so much.
Very incredible.
Where are you calling from, sir?
Being with you from Bauchi State.
Bauchi, nice. Bauchi has an airport. I've been there before. I flew from Abuja to Bauchi. We had to wait on a specific day, get on a propeller, prop plane, and fly into Bauchi. The airport was deserted. No one was there. So that plane goes there once a week. So no, twice a week. But the airport is right there. It's, there's no one there. Does Bauchi need an airport now?
Yeah. You see, like, what I would like to say at the first beginning is building an airport in a state is not a crime to the economy, if I will say it. Mm-hmm. So, I don't seem to see anything bad about building an airport that is in the state because it's achievement and it's another infrastructure. And among the social amenities, airport is among them.
You have a point. You have a point. I agree. It's a point. It's capital investment. I agree. Yes, go ahead.
So secondly, when you look at airports in the states, it brings more development in the states. But rather, what is occurring in Nigeria is we don't know how to manage it very well, if I would say, because the government doesn't open more room for investors to come to the states to invest much fund on the states. That's the reason why those airport that is building the states will be like they are not important to the states.
I hear you. And let's talk about Bauchi State. Bauchi State has got a massive ranch for cattle, massive ranch. They have massive land for agriculture, right? I went to the cattle ranch there. There were tractors wasting away, right?
Yeah.
What would have impacted Bauchi residents more? Is it $1 billion spent on that airport or revitalizing? There's a tractor plant, Steyr, in Bauchi. Is it not Steyr? Is in Bauchi.
Yeah, you see, like what you're talking about, like Bauchi State, to be specific, the airport built in Bauchi State is not that most significant to the population of the state. You understand, Bob?
Yeah.
So investing more money on agriculture, it will be more important for the people in the state.
So you see the point I'm making for you. We're not against airports. We're saying what will have the biggest multiplier. Bauchi already has Steyr. Steyr makes tractors. If they took that money and invested in Steyr and they got tractors, then there are more farmers in Bauchi with tractors. Food is cheaper. They can sell. The airport, like I said, we flew in as investors to Bauchi. It was empty, and we are the ones that flew out again. The residents of Bauchi don't go to the airport. But I thank you. Hang around, sir. Fortune, let me have you come on.
I'm hanging on. Yes,
thank you so much. I appreciate you, sir. Yeah. Fortune, what's up? Unmute and let's hear you speak, sir. Fortune, go ahead. Hey, Fortune, go ahead real quick. I'll just go jump to Chidozie. Chidozie, oh, Fortune's back. I'll take Chidozie next. Fortune, go ahead, sir. What's up? Fortune, I think you're in the matrix. Chidozie, hi. That's Dozier Inspires. Let me have you unmute and speak, sir.
Yeah, Carlo, good evening. How are you doing?
I am doing very, very well. Yeah, great.
This is a very interesting conversation, and I'll start from my experience around issues like this, right? So first of all, the Nigerian political class, they have a very good award at building things that, just puts them in a bubble, in the name of my legacy. There was an interview I saw with the former governor of Anambra State, the one that just left, right?
Yeah.
Where he talks about how he found some of the money that was saved by the past government, right?
Yeah.
And decided that, okay, he thinks he should just build an airport, right?
Yeah.
With it and leave a lasting legacy. And a few months later, there was a tweet I saw with video evidence and picture evidence where the airport was, it was substandardly built because it was maybe rushed. And then some parts of the roofs, the wind is blowing it away and everything.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. At a point in my life, I worked in Kogi State, right?
Yeah.
And I worked closely with the government, one of the governments of Kogi State in the past, right? Not the current one anyway.
Okay.
So you look at the map of Kogi State, if you are there, you put the map of Kogi State, right? We used to easily take it was just about then, the Abuja Kogi, the Lokoja Abuja highway was just fresh, and it was at least 70% complete then. I don't know the state these days, right? And we quickly it was about 2 hours, 2 hours, 30 minutes max, just to drive to the airport, right? You take a flight from Abuja and then you go to wherever you want to go, okay, right? Kogi State as a state doesn't have an international airport, right? In the eastern part of Kogi State, you have Benue State, you have an airport, right? You have Ekiti State. I think Ekiti has an airport, if I'm not mistaken. But I know Kwara has an airport.
Okay.
FCT has an airport.
Okay.
Edo has an airport, and Enugu has an airport. Why would a state like Kogi State bother about building an airport?
Yeah, but this is what we're trying to find out. Why what's this fascination with governors and airports? We don't know.
It is more beneficial that you build access roads the airports, right? You go into a negotiation with your interstate whatever agreement, right?
Yeah.
And you build good roads that lead from maybe whatever the road is bad from whatever airport you have, right?
Yeah.
Straight down to into those states, right? And take the money because see, there's most of these states can't even. They are not even. They are solvent, right?
Okay,
they are not viable.
Exactly.
They don't. They are on the red, right?
Exactly.
And
yeah.
when you have as a family, if you have a family, maybe a family, and then as a man, right? At the end of the month, you get a salary that is maybe 50,000, right? What your priority will not be to go to a club and buy a drink and pop it, right? Your priority will be how do I spend this money in such a way that I buy something that everybody can benefit? The most
I hear you, and that's the point we're making. Like you said, and I think Tumba said at the very, very top. It's this lack of appreciation of the scale of preference, and the multiplier effect. Like if an airport is good, I mean, you just said, I went to Bauchi. They have an airport in Bauchi. It's beautiful. It's very nice. Well done. But it's not a priority. This is the thing. It's not a priority. This is the thing we're trying to just get across. Fortune.
It sounds nice on the internet, right? It sounds nice in media, in press releases, right?
Yeah.
It sounds nice in launching, but I've traveled every state in Nigeria, right? And I tell you without any sense of doubt, right, is when you take out maybe about 7 or 8 states where you land at the airport and it's not a ghost town. Most of the other airports are ghost towns. In fact, when you land, you become very depressed. Let me give you an example.
No, Chidoze, we've got to let other folks speak, if you don't mind, right? We've got a lot of guys on. I do appreciate you. Yeah?
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Hey, Fortune, thank you so much. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've been listening to people making their session, and I just want you to understand that most of the airports in Nigeria, I've been to that Bauchi airport, then I equally been to the most recent depressing one was the Bayelsa. The first week that they opened that airport, I flew in. I was coming from Bayelsa back to Lagos. So what you have to understand is this, because I've worked with a lot of government parastatals, as an architect, what they are looking at most times is, in quotes, I want to leave a legacy and also embezzle the remaining fund. Because when we do a BOQ, of some of these projects, we realize that if the project is going to be like maybe 200 million at the end of the day, what they will budget for it will be like 5 billion. The rest will go into their pocket, and whoever that is going to do the construction will end up doing substandard works. I keep hearing doing railway. You understand that railway assistance is a federal project. States don't have any right to do any railway, at least if not for federal. So most of the times, it's not about revenue generation. No, that's not the main.
I hear you, Fortune, and I think you're the second person to say this, and I kind of agree with you, right? But yes, the question is this: why can't they build a legacy with a 10-lane express road? It's not a legacy. Why are airports the legacy / chopping? Why is it the airport? This is the point. Why an airport?
So when you say 10-lane expressway, you probably know that federal roads too. If you check all the roads in Nigeria that is federal, is either dilapidated or abandoned.
Build your own. So again, what I'm saying is that why?
Secondly, sorry, I remember this. It's an elitist thing.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, I remember when I went to Bauchi. When I was coming back to, there was no direct flight from Bauchi to Lagos then. We have to go to Abuja.
Yes.
They told us that the plane that will come and carry us from Bauchi is the plane that is bringing the governor and whoever the entourage was.
Yeah.
So you see, when you go to all these interland, it's going to be for the elitists. Since they cannot travel by road, they have to build airport for themselves.
Interesting. Okay,
Fortune. If you ask me, I think that Abia State needs airports. Even though, look at Abia State is a business hub.
Fortune, every local government area in Nigeria needs an airport. We're not debating that. Every local government needs an airport. The point is who can afford it, who can pay for it, who can maintain it. And let me just clarify the point to talk about railways. Federal does railways, but I think if you go to the Nigerian Railway Corporation and say, I am going to fund a spur line, they would listen to you. You can fund a spur line to say, NRC, come and build this railway, but I will pay for it. The same way you repair federal roads and all. This is the point I'm making. So states can build a rail in their boundaries. They can't build a rail outside. So Ogun can build a railway from a local government to a local government inside Ogun or Osun, but they can't cross the boundary because only federal can build interstate railways. Like we mentioned,
it's an elitist thing.
I think you're right.
Do not enter trend, so they rather build an airport so that they alone can land in the airport
for $5 billion.
They will target as a legacy.
I hear you.
As far as whatever legacy they are building, if you check, it's just for photorealism, picturistic purposes. Most times, it's not for the benefit of the masses.
Fortunately, I completely hear you. And guys, if I drop you off just to make space for you guys to come in, not if I drop just to make space for you guys. Anna, I see you. Let me have Stalina. Edwards make a comment, and I'll come to you, Anna. Welcome, Anna. Stalina, how are you doing today? Did you have a comment for us? Stalina, going once.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. What's up? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just trying to, get around the point, what the point of the conversation is. But there was a comment that Fortune made, like as though he was wondering why, as a sort of send forth event, state government just set up what would pass for a makeshift airport. So, Enna would be very familiar with this point. The point that came to my head that I wanted to add, that some of these capital projects, some of these expenditures that they put in place are conduits for corruption. It's projects that they're not putting them in place simply because they feel like it's going to be effective or in use. That's not their concern. Hence, maintenance policies are not put to follow up. They are just conduits. They're just opportunities to siphon money.
I hear
That's
you.
my point.
I hear you. But and let's just remember that Imo State a long time ago, when it was still Imo and Anambra, the only two states, right? They crowdfunded and built an airport. And back then, it was a huge thing. It was the first time anyone outside the federal government had built an airport, right? And I think it was kind of, in quotes, successful. But after a while, Oriental Airlines stopped flying, and then the airports were moribund. So, best of intentions. But an airport needs infrastructure. So if you don't have that infrastructure to feed and to provide blood to that airport in people, in transactions, then what's the point? Anna, what's your take?
First, for the Council of Economic Advisors, for every $1 billion spent on infrastructure, about 13,000 jobs are created.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's funny, I've been part of one of the airport projects in Nigeria. I've actually worked in government before. I'm also privileged to be an infrastructural specialist.
Yeah.
So I would say, whether it's the World Cup, whether it's Olympics, whether infrastructure gives you first in a corruption toga the best conduit to make money, because you can easily just inflate the project. But in a positive multiplier effect, in 1998, to buy duty free, their revenues was $20 million. But in 2017, their revenues was $1.93 billion. And if you look at Turkish Airlines, for example, Turkish Airlines makes about $10.7 billion annually, and they own about 372 planes. So my big issue is not even the airports. Now, as an infrastructure specialist, one of the things I've been pointing in Nigeria is that we look only at the hard substructure of infrastructure. We don't look at the soft elements of infrastructure. And that's what the big danger is. And I'll give you an example. Ireland manages about 5,000 leased aircraft. It's the headquarters of leased aircraft.
Yep.
That combined asset is about $150 billion. So we keep looking at things. We never enter the value stream of any industry, either it is oil and gas, either it's technology, we just go and collect the hard infrastructure without collecting the soft.
And that's because you don't have the money.
No. That's the greatest fallacy of infrastructure. Brother, I'm an infrastructure specialist, developmental consultant, and reliability engineer. As I speak to
you. Who is we? And who is we are talking about? So the crowd is following, just for the crowd to follow. Who is this we? Are you saying Nigeria or say Ebonyi or other states?
Globally.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, globally, I agree.
So globally, there's a misconception about infrastructure. And I think we're in an earlier space, both of us maybe last week, and I said the economic thinking cap of Nigeria is wrong. The thinking cap, I'll give an example. Fashola as Minister of Power, and people were complaining he was borrowing money. Guess what he replied? He said, if they don't borrow, what would they do? That's when he's the poster child of APC. That's when I lost hope. There are more than 15 or 20 or 30 innovative strategies to raise money. You just talked of the Imo State Airport. Do you know that the Swiss Canal extension project, a 22-mile extension that would increase the Swiss Canal revenues from $5 billion to $13 billion annually? Guess what? $8.5 billion was raised in 5 days by Egyptians. The government even had to beg people to stop giving money. I can talk of other strategies.
Yeah, but and take us to Nigeria. So Nigeria.
So Nigeria, first, the Nigeria is the thinking cap. When we think infrastructure, all we're thinking about is money. But infrastructure has nothing to do with money. Money is the last thing. I'll give you a simple example. Look at the 4 refineries. Installed capacity of 420,000 barrels. Now let's go to Singapore. Singapore does not produce crude oil. Guess what? Crude oil processing accounts for 18.6% of the GDP. So what I want is, we should not think infrastructure in the context of hard infrastructure. We should think infrastructure in the context of soft infrastructure. In any industry, how do we enter the value stream? I'll give another example. Between 2008 and 2013, OECD countries made more money from crude oil than OPEC countries. How do you think about that?
That is crazy.
It's the thinking cap. Because if you just look infrastructure, let's look at Norway. Go to the Nordic countries, Sweden. They don't have skyscrapers. Skyscraper is not a sign of development.
Let me ask you a direct question, right?
Okay.
We have states in Nigeria that are surviving off fact. I mean, I'm looking at the figure right now for only 3 states in Nigeria, Rivers, Lagos, and Anambra, according to data, can survive on just IGR and paying their bills. Question is, should states that cannot survive on their own without FAC be building capital-intensive projects like airports, or should they more or less focus on the HDIs first? What's your take? What should come first? Airports are good, but what should be the focus?
Okay, so it's a direct question and I'll give an answer. Now, I think we make a lot of mistakes. We confuse data for information for actionable intelligence. I was at the 2014 budget defense, and Okonjo-Iweala was speaking, and she was trying to celebrate Jonathan's government, and she said 4 million jobs were created that year. And I rose up my hand. I said, Madam, yes, 4 million jobs were created. But tell me, how many jobs were lost? Because 4 million jobs were created as a selling point is data. By the time you tell me how many jobs were lost, and I do the interpolation, that's information. Now, when I now go dig deeper on that data, I can now get actionable intelligence that I can build with. So I'll give an example. On my doctorate degree, one of the things I did was to develop a novel prioritization model to enable you to choose amongst a multiplicity of projects. Now, this is the issue they have in Nigeria. There are 2 things in decision sciences. There's one, the process, there's 2, the decision. Once in the UK, I think Bombardier won a project in the UK, a major rail project, against Richard Branson. And they awarded the project to Bombardier. Guess what? Richard Branson challenged the decision. He went through the House of Commons, House of Lords, there was an open contest. Guess what? After they went through the analysis, they cancelled the project and awarded it to Richard Branson. What am I saying? We need a decision lab in every government house and in the president's office. Because in decision sciences, once an option is more than 2, n raised to power of 2, it's above your cognitive ability. At that time, we now need to use softwares and systems like analytical hierarchy processes. And even at that, there are different schools of thoughts in decision sciences. There's the absolute school of thought, which is French, and there's the pairwise comparison school of thought, which is the American. So my answer to that is, nobody should answer which project is best. We put it to a process that we adopt as a nation based on
and you're not answering my question. It's a direct question. The question is this, right? And I'll give you a part. I'll use Abia State. Abia State has, should we say, low. How like I don't want to. Should Abia State build an airport when Enugu is nearby, when other states are nearby? What should that be allowed? That's the question.
No, you cannot. I'm telling you that I cannot answer that question.
All right.
Because if you go answer that question without building a consistent process that is auditable to reach that decision, you are creating a problem that would be multiplier. So for every infrastructure decision we need to take, we're supposed to develop our own preparatory, let's say, decision process that is auditable, consistent, and we arrive at that location.
And we're lucky to have you here. I'm going to put you on pause and keep you here. Let me have Tommy. Tommy, jump in. Thanks for waiting so much. Tommy Adedeji.
Yeah, thank you very much.
How you doing, sir?
Thanks for creating the space. I think I started following your conversations around the airport thing probably yesterday, and that was why I actually followed you as well. Just to put up my own thoughts on that briefly. Perhaps like the previous speaker said, I think it would be interesting if one can get the viewpoint of perhaps people in government to tell us what was their thinking or what was their reasoning, because, for saying, oh yeah, we want to build an airport. Now, but personally for me, it seems that it boils down to a lack of vision and an inability to organize ourselves as Nigerians. That's why we're having all of these projects. Take, for instance, the one going on in Ekiti. I think it's a cargo airport. I can understand the reason why Ekiti will want to build a cargo airport.
Why?
Ekiti is a landlocked state.
But every local government.
It's a landlocked
state. Every local government in Nigeria.
It's a landlocked state and it's agriculturally dependent. So perhaps they are thinking, okay, yeah, we need to, export and things like that. However, the question is, which is why I said the inability to organize. And I think one of the presidential candidates talked about creating regional hubs or things, which I think it's something that can be helpful. Okay, if you have something like that where there's a regional railway plan, say for the southwest, that can, transverse through Osun Ekiti and, down to Lagos. That way you already knock out the reason, the need for building airport in Ekiti, airport in Osun, airport in...
Tommy, my background is Tommy,
easily solves that problem.
My background is personal finance. If you come to me and you say you want to buy a 4x4 Jeep because the roads are bad in your street, that's a valid reason. Valid. Your roads are bad in the 4x4. Valid. My question is, can you afford it? If you can't afford it, say you're going to take a loan. I'm going to ask you, is the loan you're going to take and the job you're going to do the 4x4, can you pay back that loan? I.e., if you buy the car to go to...
looking from the outside for us...
So does that work for you?
I think what I would say is that, look, an airport is a no-no, should be a no-no.
I'm not saying it's a no-no. I'm just saying really... But these guys don't build airstrips. Okay, Tommy, in River State, right, they have 2 airports in River State. One is like a strip. An airstrip is in town. It's called Nigerian Air Force, just a strip with a small building. Then one is a big airport. These guys don't build strips and a small tent and call it an airport. Maybe in Ekiti or Abia can just tar something. Small planes can land and go. No, they want to build ginormous Dubai-style, quote-unquote, ultra-modern, state-of-the-art international airport. This is also the problem. They don't build... Warri has this strip also. So these oil company guys have all these strips of land where their planes land and pick them up. You don't see any governor building that. The most beautiful airport in Nigeria is the one in Jigawa. Go to the one in Jigawa. It's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, Google it. Beautiful. Who lands there? So I'm not against airports. In the US, the town I go to, they have 3 airports in the county. 3 strips. 3 not the state, the county. But it's just the cabins. So I hear you, and this is just what the point I'm just bringing out from everyone just speaking. I'm not against the airport, but I'm not talking about scale of preference. Can you afford it?
Can we afford it?
Can you? So tell me. Let me.
And I think the looking from the outside again, the answer I would say is that, oh, no, we can't afford it. But I think that's why I see there's an absence of vision in governance. And sometimes even the way we approach problem solving is a problem, because it seems that there's this beer parlor approach to where we just say one thing and everybody runs with it. That idea is not tested. The hypothesis is not tested.
That's what NI is saying. I agree with you.
That it would have been interesting to get someone from the government to tell us, okay, what was your thinking? How did you arrive at, okay, yeah, this is the problem, and building an airport is a solution to that problem?
But we've heard people, we've heard people say that it's a vanity thing. Tommy, I hear you.
Kalu, I think I can contribute to that. During the World Economic Forum that was held in Nigeria, during Jonathan. So when I think other airports were closed. So Jonathan, I think the runway was being maintained. So the guests had to land at closed airports and driveway. Immediately at the conference, I remember this vividly. Jonathan said because of that, they just told, he was speaking at the conference, World Economic Forum, the one that held in Nigeria. And at the conference on the mic, he said, Minister of FCT, Minister of Aviation, we're building the second runway. What did that tell me? There is no consistent, auditable process to taking investment decisions. And all investment decisions have political, economic, human, and environmental costs. And my suggestion to that is we must have a decision lab in the presidency and every state government where any decision they want to take, they put it to test, they weigh the pros.
And let me give it a counter. Abuja Airport should have been built to the second runway. It's a no-brainer.
I disagree.
Abuja Airport should have. Listen, in Abuja, the Saudi, a Saudi plane crashed.
I disagree with you.
A Saudi plane crashed and it blocked the runway. It blocked the runway, and planes did not land in Abuja for 3 days.
What's the traffic?
Forget traffic. Abuja is the nation's capital. And now, what are you talking about? Why are you beginning Heathrow?
The traffic at Heathrow.
We can't compare Heathrow traffic and our state capital.
I'm to say something. The traffic at Heathrow surpasses maybe all the traffic.
It doesn't matter. But this is Abuja.
Heathrow's runway operates at 99.9. The next time you land in Heathrow, just watch it. This is not the point. This is not the point. The state capital, the capital of Nigeria, should have a second runway in case the one runway is blocked, like it has happened in the past. A plane. So what should happen? What happens when a plane when one runway is blocked? What happens? What do we do? Reliability engineer. I want to do things you do. Okay, go.
So what up?
Let me explain. I think that's just a management problem. That's not nothing to do with infrastructure. It's about running efficient systems. It's not rocket science.
I agree.
You have airports like your George Bush International Airport. There's many airports that have something maybe 1-2 runways. If a plane crashes, it shouldn't take 3 days to get moved away. You can get moved away in minutes. What if it and it burns on the on that one runway? You can move away.
Yeah, but what if you can't move it away? I mean, you have a redundancy. You have to have a redundancy. We cannot say.
One last thing. I think what NI is saying is correct. I think one solution is if I'm an agile driven, for example. I think a lot of our problems will be solved if the governments have business analysts.
Nobody's debating that. I think we're right. I think Anna is right on that. You are right on that. But that's the point I'm making specifically for Abuja and even Lagos. You cannot have one runway. You can't. Heathrow is in London. It's tight. That's why they can have two. They're trying to build a third runway now. That's why they don't have more than one in Heathrow. Not because they don't want 2 or 3 or 4. You can't have one. There is just no redundancy. Anything can happen to one and you're stuck. This is the point. It's a runway for a plane. Aminu, what's up? Jump in here real quick. Aminu Bakari Buba. How you doing, sir? Aminu, can you unmute real quick so we can hear you?
Okay. Thank you, Kalu. Thank you, our guest today. I really enjoyed the conversation. I'm from Gombe.
How you doing? Gombe has an airport, right? Gombe has an airport.
Yeah, there's an airport here in Gombe. And honestly, to be frank with you, politicians are just playing with our own resources, building all these infrastructures just for their own benefit. Not entirely. For instance, here in Gombe, the airport here that we have in Gombe is not supposed to have been there in the first place. Because already Bauchi have been there before. In fact, let me tell you this. When the governor, Danjuma Koji, when he was governor, the statement he made about building the airport was that it's time, since Gombe is now the state, Gombe should have his own airport whereby people will be flying from that airport to wherever decision they want to fly in across Nigeria, not minding the economic benefit and other collective the impact that it will have in a multiplier effect. So, if you look at that, Gombe, for instance, now there are three major industries that we could have benefit most in terms of injected resources. If you look at, we have a cement company here in Gombe, Lafarge, Ashaka Cement. That company is there. It is not really benefiting from a rail line that will connect it, though I know rail is part of federal projects. Secondly, if you look at, in terms of production, there are two major crops that we have in Gombe that could have been, that government funds should have been invested heavily inside them. Tomato production and maize production. So these are places that government ought to have invested much in terms of harnessing the economic and multiplier effect of all these resources for the benefit of the community. But politicians are busy collaborating around putting infrastructure that are not to the benefit of anybody and don't have a triple effect on the economy.
I agree with you. I mean, and this is the theme of the conversation we're hearing. Lots of infrastructure out there that is not multiplying into the economy of the state. And I have said that we have to have an idea lab where we go in and we say we want to do X, we want to do Y. We review that decision, see if it will really benefit what it is said to want to do. And that is correct. And we are all just saying the same thing, really. This should not be happening. And this is the point we're trying to just get out from this space, is that we are just spending because we want to spend, or we have the money and it is free of charge, in quote. Hence, we are spending. This is just my take, and it's just the money is there, so let's spend it. Most of these governors, if they run their own personal company and they had this money as their own personal bank account, they would not build an airport. That's what I know. Enna, I have a question for you, Enna. A lady here, Anna Salihu, she was here to speak, but she left. She's asking, is it okay to consider privatization, and how will this ease our capex burden? I think she's particularly saying, can we consider maybe PPP or privatization? If that was an issue, if that was something that we could do, would it help this conversation to say, okay, the states are not the ones spending? What do you think?
It depends on the reason why you're privatizing. Sometimes you privatize to get technology. Sometimes you privatize to attract money. Sometimes you privatize to gain expertise. Sometimes you privatize to build infrastructure. So the privatization is not one in itself. You can only take that decision based on the original intent and the benefits you would acquire from privatization. And there are different kinds of privatization. We're talking of traditional construction projects. There's operation and maintenance, there's BOT, there's performance-based contract. So, and I will repeat, you can't arrive at any of these decisions except you go through a decision lab that analyzes the process and evaluates the final decision so that you can evaluate back and forth. In the case of Egypt, their Swiss Canal Extension project, what did they do? They didn't privatize, they privatized, but it was the populace that raised the money. So there are different strategies to raise money, different strategies to put it together. There's what you also call securitization. Securitization is when you go to the manufacturer of the stuff and say, you do it and put it, and let it be, as it's generating, it will be making money. So it depends.
So no one size fits all approach. It's more or less.
No, every project is different.
But let me ask you, if I saw that the state government had gotten private sector guys, it was doing PPP, it wasn't spending its own state money, maybe the state would say, okay, we're going to donate the land as our own equity. You can go and crowdfund, we'll provide we'll reduce the taxes. I would like to hear that than the state taking its own revenues to build this monstrosity that is not going to generate incomes and all that. I would be more, should we say, attuned towards that sort of strategy than the state actually deploying its own fiscal revenues. That's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it depends on the bankability of the project. If the project is bankable, you don't even need to go to people. It's people that will come to you and say, I want to build an airport. Let's look at tourism destinations, for example. There are 19,000 airports in the US. So just imagine that. I can build an airport close to my factory.
Yeah, but you see, and that's the thing. And most of these airports, again, I make this point, there are strips with cabins. Most of these airports, you have 19,000. There are two strips, a long piece of road or tarred road with a cabin. That's the airport. Snohomish Airport, Arlington Airport. That's it. But in Nigeria, you want to build a massive structure with hangars and all that. I don't know. Okwete, what's up?
The most expensive. Okay, go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
The problem Anna has been saying is that we do not have a design process, and that is true. I agree with him. But I also want to add additionally that we have a decoration process. What you said that happened to Jonathan during the WEF that was held in Nigeria was he tried to decorate the problem, said, all right, that's it, we're getting a second runway. And I do agree with Kalu on that Nigeria's capital needs a second runway. And I also agree with Anna and other speakers that the ones we have can be run more effectively. But what I came in to actually talk about was Nigerian governors' airports are a failure of their own logistics problem. So they have thought about, oh, how can I get from Lagos, usually Abuja, to my state? And they see that the roads and every other way is blocked due to insecurity, bad roads, or other failures of logistics. They say, you know what I'm just going to do is I'm going to slap icing on it and then just make my own monstrosity of an airport so that they can avoid the problems that they created by not being intentional about design, so thereby decorating a problem rather than actually solving it. And so there are several ways to solve this particular issue. It could be the 10-lane roads that Carl mentioned earlier. It could also be spurs of airports that Carl mentioned earlier. It could also be just the roads within the particular states, just having a good network. Because one thing that happens is when there's logistic failure, everybody lives in an island. And the way to live in the Caribbean, you do island hopping with airports. Do you understand? So, like the place, people in Abuja are disconnected from people as close as Kefi because of the difficulty in getting to a place like Kefi or Jos or even Bauchi. And many times in America, if you consider the scale of America, and the types of compared to Nigeria, you see that Nigeria is a small-ish, not tiny. Nigeria is a small-ish country compared to these other places that I'm talking about. Yet people hop into their cars and drive. They can just say, you know what, I'm going to visit my friend in Kaduna. I'm going to visit my dad's I stay in Abuja, so I'm going to be making a lot of Abuja-centric examples. I just want to hop into my vehicle and drive to my friend in Abuja, in Kaduna, or Kefi, or Jos, or even Lokoja, or anywhere else. But by the time I look at the difficulty in getting to these places, and being human, I'll be like, you know what, if I can teleport to the place, I would. But the closest thing to teleportation is the airport.
Good point.
Everybody keeps.
I think, good point. Yeah, good point.
After 10 years, the cost of ownership of a project overcomes the cost of production. So I'll say a solution to that, one of the strategies the government can use is what we call shared services, where 4 states that are closely relatable will look for the center of it and will place the airport there. Then the 4 states will contribute to its construction. Contribute to maintenance. Nobody will feel the cost.
But then, as we're talking, Abia wants an airport. Ebonyi wants an airport. Enugu has an airport. Imo has an airport. What's last state? What's last Southeast state? It also has an airport. This is the point, and that these guys don't listen. Look at Southwest, Central Southwest, Osun, Ogun. All of them want an airport. So they don't listen. This is not rocket science to say get a central location as a regional airport, build one really, really good airport, 4 or 5 states contribute, 4 or 5 states own it. They own it, then they contribute, and then you build an express route to that airport. That's the solution, right? Right there. But they don't listen. Yeah. Dr. Ike, thanks for waiting. What's up? Talk to us, Dr. Ike. Akimbo123.
Yeah. Good evening, Alu.
How you doing? I see your hands. Don't worry. Yeah, go ahead, sir, doctor.
I want to start by saying thank you very much for hosting this kind of speech.
You're welcome, sir.
A wonderful job, and unfortunately, I've not been really opportune to always be on your speeches, especially the ones about personal finance.
Oh, you should join us. They're very good. You should join us.
I know, but just schedules and all sorts. Anyway, so I kind of understand that this conversation has deep down into more of economic stuff and all that, but I really want to be more specific. To the whole about this standard jail was all about Ebonyi State and why they created, why Ebonyi State is building an airport. Well, let me give you a bit of background. I'm from the state, but I'm going to be looking at it from an outsider point of view. So I think the current governor,
Salim, can you mute your mic? Mute your mic, please.
Hello, good evening.
No, mute your mic, sir. Can you mute your mic, please?
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Dr. Ike, please go ahead.
So, if you, for example, if you listen to his campaign during the primary, presidential primaries, he was hammering on the fact that he's an engineer and that he is more concerned about infrastructure, and that he knows how to get them done and cheaper rate and all that. Same thing. He has actually done here, and has done fantastically well. In terms of roads, I noticed that you also complained about roads. But I don't think the roads are any problem any longer here. They are solved the road.
Dr. Ike, what's the cost of this airport is building? What's the cost?
I don't have to figures, to be honest. But I am trying to get somewhere. I think you should just give me some minutes.
You have very, very short time, sir.
Is what he's asking about.
Okay, so like I was saying, so he is taking them step by step. He started by massively investing on road projects and got most of them done. Then went into the project of creating markets, malls, and all that. And also thinking that okay, the next project should be creating an avenue that we can be exporting our products from the state. Not necessarily that those products are already there, but if I am thinking the way he's thinking, he thinks government is a continuum, and that by the time he's going to the region, which would be the next dispensation, that the next person who will be taken over will probably invest more into human capital, which will bring this investment that we all are worried about and change the state of the state and open it more. I think that's how he's thinking. And maybe in your own you think, okay, we need to solve problems right now. But I think he is being more futuristic with the way he's going about things. And I think we should accord him. And it is comparably to other states and where they've gone about projects. They go start projects, not finish them, abandon them. Then the next government comes in, they look at the project and say, no, that's not what I want to do. Nobody seems to be thinking in a confined way of thinking about things, or in a continuum, and they just go, everybody just keep creating wahala for everybody and just keep doing things. But if government is a continuum, I expect that, okay, if you are saying, if you want to open up the city, okay, create the infrastructures down, then invest heavily into the human capital.
Can I respond?
No. I will respond. So, Dr. Ike, I didn't want to bring in Ebonyi. This topic is beyond Ebonyi. I didn't want to.
I actually noticed that. I didn't want to talk about Ebonyi.
So, but you brought up Ebonyi. Let me just be very, very quick about Ebonyi. Very, very quick, right? Ebonyi is the poorest state in the southeast and the south-south. If you look at the entire south, Ebonyi is the poor. What I mean poorest, has the poorest citizens of any state in the south-south and southeast. It's a poor state. It didn't happen under his watch. He inherited it. It happened a long time ago. I don't know why Ebonyi is poor. Also with literacy, Ebonyi has the lowest literacy ratio in the south-south and southeast. I don't know why. Hold on, doctor. Doctor, I'm just giving you data. I didn't make the data, just the data. You can Google it and verify. Now, doctor, I'm just giving you the data. I didn't make the data up. Google it, right? Now, my point is this, right? Airports are fantastic. Roads are fantastic. But a CEO, which he is, should come into an environment and say, what is the problem? 10 years, is it 25 years ago, we had a guy in Jigawa, the governor of Jigawa State. He came to Jigawa and he says the problem of Jigawa State was internet access. He gave Jigawa the most modern internet access in Nigeria. Way back then, before Nigeria even had all this GSM, Jigawa had internet access. Is this Sami Nuturaki? That's the guy's name. Sami Nuturaki. So Jigawa had internet, but no drinking water. The same with Ebonyi. Ebonyi, what is the problem with Ebonyi? Is it the market? Is it the airport? Or is it just that people are poor and cannot afford food? That's the problem. You fix that first. You can say government is a continuum, but people are hungry. A guy told me that foreigners, quote unquote, come to Ebonyi and enjoy the free schools because the Ebonyi indigenes cannot go to the schools or afford the shops he's building. So what's the point? Doctor.
Well, yeah. Are you asking me as a question?
I'm asking you as a question. Yeah, what's the point of building an airport if the citizens of that state are in the poverty index very, very top end? I'm not talking about top five. Top five. Ebonyi is in top 5.
Okay, so like you rightly said, Ebonyi is one of, in fact, it's part of the last things that were created in Nigeria, and I think then there were issues about bringing development to this part of the country. Most of the leadership that they have had in the past had actually ignored them. And if you are from that part, when you get the opportunity, you probably want to say, I have to do this and I have to do it fast. Yes, there seems to be a gap between okay, Ebonyi being poor and the citizens are poor and all that. But you also want to create an avenue for them to get this thing right. And
yeah, but Dr. I'm a very, very direct guy, right? So when Anambra built an airport, I criticize it as well. Anambra is far richer than Ebonyi State. And I said they are taking money and they are... So the point, doctor, is this. If the state is poor, the state's problem is...
Can I put a question to you? Let me simply push give you a summary by putting a question to you. If these infrastructures are all in place now, and by the end of the day, the next government comes in and invested heavily on human capital, what do you think will be of the money in the next 10 years?
If the problem is this, people are dying of... People are... No, I don't want you to... Coach, I don't want you to attempt anything. No. So, doctor, the point... See, if you're... Let's make this personal. Let's make this personal. You go home, your children are crying, they haven't eaten. Then you go buy a new Starlink internet for your home. Then you are asking me that since you bought the Starlink, then when your kid grows up, he will then have the internet, but he can starve for now, but he has internet. Right now, the kids are crying that they have no food. Right now. In economics, in the long run, we're all dead. In economics, that's what they say in economics.
So let me also use this analogy you've just given me. Now I bought a Starlink, which is wonderful and all that. But let's say that Starlink is an avenue where I would learn something so quickly.
Whilst you are hungry, have you ever started to read when you're hungry? Anyway, doctor, let's move on. I just want to make that point. This is not about Ebonyi. So anyone come jumping here for Ebonyi?
I've been trying to learn. My purpose of being here is actually learning, not necessarily anything.
I got you.
Understand where to
no, Doc, I hear you. We're just debating, right? So people can follow. Doc, I hear you, but I have to get up other guys on the roster, right? I hear you. No, yeah, got you. Charles, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Carlo. I wanted to say something that we kind of get governance very wrong in this part of the world. I think that we need infrastructure, but what we need is critical infrastructure. I think the idea for politicians to build many of these white elephant projects is just that it is self-serving. I can mention a very few airports in Nigeria that are really important. Port Harcourt, maybe the one in Maiduguri that serves as the humanitarian corridor, the one in Lagos, the one in Abuja. I don't think that the rest are actually quite needed. I mean, in a country where the per capita income is less than $2,000,
yeah.
I think that we need to focus on the most important thing.
Charles, I think we need the airport. Charles, I think we need the airport. I'm not against the airport. All those states, Ebonyi.
Yeah.
I think my problem is the cost, not the airport. The cost.
The cost is. I think it's.
Have you seen the airport? It's on my Twitter page. Have you seen the airport? It's a lot of money. It's nearly two. I'm going to look. It's nearly $2 billion just for this stage. What's the budget? Ebonyi State has a deficit on operating income. Deficit. They get their money from Abuja. So why are you taking $2 billion from what you are getting from Abuja, a handout, to invest in an airport?
It doesn't really make sense.
Abakaleke is a rice basket of West Africa. The rice basket of West Africa is Kebbi and Abakaleke and Ofada. Invest in that. Get people off hunger. Then we can talk. But Charles, I hear you. I want to get Salim. Salim's internet has been dropping up and on. Let me get him in here real quick. Salim, how you doing?
I'm fine. Good evening.
Good evening. What's up?
Well, I think there's no need for any argument here. We all need to be realistic. And realistic in the sense that there's got to be some scale of preference. No resources. We need to effectively channel our resources to the right places. I speak and I come from Bauchi. I heard you talked about STAIR in Bauchi.
Yep.
STAIR is amongst about 5, 6, 7, left behind investments. We've got Bauchi Meat Factory, we've got Allen Wells, and there's a
Salim, let me just make this point for full listener. I went to Bauchi, my mind was blown away.
Yeah.
Blown away.
Yeah.
When you go to Bauchi, right, you see the plan that Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa had for the North.
Oh, yeah.
And you see how in those days, like Enna is talking about, people sat down and planned out an economy. I took my time to read the plan and I put it on Twitter and I said, the North had the most advanced economic plan in Nigeria. People are attacking, what do you mean? I said, listen, I know what I'm saying. I've gone, I have seen. They had NNDC. When was this? Not and then you go to Bauchi, because Bauchi, people look at Bauchi now as a state. No, Bauchi encompassed, I think back then, Plateau, bit of Kano. Bauchi was a county or something like that. It was not just Bauchi state that we see today. It was massive, well planned. So what the hell happened? Why didn't the North, in quotes, simply follow that plan?
Absolutely. Now we've got a recent ridiculous, government house renovation project worth about 6 billion naira.
There you go.
Absurd. We don't need this project. We have I think the second highest out of school children. There's not our IGR. Nothing tangible in Bauchi State. So I think we've got to be realistic.
Scale of preference, you said. Scale of preference.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I mean, airports are good. Scale of preference. Yeah, I completely agree with you. You speak. I hear your hand is up, but I want to get other people to speak.
I'm not stopping him from speaking, but I think I'll put my shoe into this discussion.
Go ahead.
So you see, like what you're talking about, like the Bauchi issue.
Yeah.
You see, it's a center of tourism. So
yes,
if assuming
I'm coming.
If assuming the government really manage that is the tourism issue, you get it back.
Yeah.
Correct.
It will that is to increase more benefit and there is more income to the IGR of the state.
Correct.
I'm coming. Looking into other countries like Dubai IGR, if you look at it, there is the tourism sector give more amount of money to the government. So assuming in Bauchi State, the government there is look at our nice touring center like the Game Reserve. It's a very well place for touring. If assuming the government will maintain it, and there is maintain it on the high level whereby
Yankari is even quote unquote old. In Bauchi they have this cave that have blue water caves, right? That tourists are paying millions in Italy to watch. Those caves are where Boko Haram folks were living in, because those caves have natural water. But I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks for jumping in.
So if assuming the government will maintain those tourism centers, you see the airport will be very important. There is two things will occur. The airport will give money to the government, and secondly, the tourism center will give money to the government. So in this scenario, when you look at building of the airport in Bauchi State, it's somehow important to the state. If you look at it.
I've been to your airport, so I know what I'm talking about. So just so I've been there multiple times. Let me get you in.
What Bauchi needs is an aircraft boneyard.
Is what, Anna?
An aircraft boneyard, because Nigeria, often Africa, hardly has aircraft boneyards. Because when the price of aviation fuel goes too high, like the airlines were threatening recently to stop flying. At that time, or just like COVID, when most of the planes went down, or just like the 737 MAX 8 that's grounded, you're supposed to have an aircraft boneyard that's like a research facility, like you store aircrafts that you want to just keep for a while to breed, or it's like a tourism center.
But why Bauchi? Why Bauchi?
When I did the analysis, Bauchi was the place it was supposed to be, because of the topography and because of the climatic conditions.
Because of the dry air.
Yeah. You don't need, if you just Google aircraft boneyards, you will see Nigeria does not have, Africa hardly has.
Thank you very much.
Salim and Youth, you're getting free consulting,
Thank you very much, Ina.
All right.
But that is actually where I'm going. If even those tourism centers will be well maintained, I think building an airport in Bauchi State is basically significant to the state.
Okay.
You get it about?
So, what about the 5 billion? What about the 5 billion governor's house renovation? Is that essential? 6 billion. I apologize.
No, I'm not talking about that one. Is not essential to the state because there are more things that the government needs to do in the state. Even about employment.
Mr. Youth, this ambassador, listen. We've got to scale our issues to preference. What are you rather better off? Is it the airport, or the out of school children, or the poverty, or the hunger? You've got massive arable land. Barely 20% of it is being cultivated. So we've got to be realistic. We've got to be realistic. We've got to channel our resources to the right places.
I agree.
Airport in Bauchi State, there's got to be some benchmark, but you don't have to be extravagant.
I agree.
You understand?
Yeah. Let me get on Daily Trouble. What a name. On Daily Trouble. What's up? On Daily Trouble, this name. So go ahead and unmute and speak to us, sir. Going once on Daily Trouble, going once, going twice. Let me get I am Kokojit. Oh my God, I can't pronounce these names. How are you, sir? Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I've been listening to the interesting conversation too. I'm doing a research on aviation fuel and how to reduce cost of fuel. So I'll just tap in some few points into this. So for our case in Nigeria, I think the issue we have is we don't tie infrastructure projects to human capital development. Most of the time it's a show of government that this is what I've done for my people. I've built an airport because my neighboring state has built an airport. So we're actually tying it to productivity and how we're going to create the jobs or actually create an industry based on the resources that we have in the state. As for the cost of the airport, it's dependent on the economic condition. That's best to the environment that you're operating. That's what affects the cost of your airport. And for you to actually work on this issue, you have to look for alternative ways to actually fund airport, maybe a PPP model, or you look for development banks that can actually fund this. But just to crunch a little data, just to open up our minds to see what's happening, the area of Nigeria is equivalent to the area of Texas and Alaska combined. Nigeria has 32 public airports and 1 private airport, which is MMIE2. Texas has 24 airports. Alaska has 400 airports. The United States of America has 5,217 public airports and 14,702 private airports. So obviously,
yeah. But what's the minimum wage in America?
I'm getting there. So I'm telling you that we don't tie the infrastructure projects to human capital. We don't tie to building an industry. Say we are building an aviation industry. For example, I think it's Green Airline. They ordered about 200 of the current 737 that's been grounded. So it's not been delivered. I don't know. You can look up the Green Airlines. The new airline.
I think they've cancelled that order. They've cancelled it. They went to Airbus or so.
Yeah, because of the issue that they're having with the 747, because it's having an electrical issue, the 737 and the 747 in particular. So that's the issue that we're having. So infrastructure is important. We need to look for alternative source of funding, and the project initiator, which at most times the governors, they have to think of how to tie this infrastructure project to human capital development. Because I'm going to tell you that the airline industry is actually a very huge industry. It's a very, very big industry that can employ lots and lots and lots of youth.
I agree with you.
We don't have enough. We don't even have enough. We are lagging behind. We don't have enough.
I agree with you, but you know the whole thing is all about resources and choices. That's just it. Resources and choices. We don't have the resources of America, and we have the choices of America. So we want the airport. What about seaports? What about car ownership? What about credit? America has much more. We have to get to America's stage, but we have to get our steps right. That's not just the issue, right? That's just it. Step by step by step by step. That's what I think. So great data.
Just for the airline industry, this is just for one industry. So you can take up this and apply to another industry.
So it goes back to my point about Nigeria having a spending problem. The choice of how we spend is the problem. That's when we have the money, how we spend it.
How we allocate resources. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, Enna, what are you jumping in to say, Enna?
You need to change it to an investment outlook. Infrastructure is not spending. So
I know, but I'm talking about all things like the library that NASA is building for 5 billion. What is that? NASA is building a library right now for 5 billion naira right now. So I mean, you and on Delhi, what's up?
Okay, thank you, Kalu. It's been very interesting. I tried to join in the first time, but my internet was sucking.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, thanks. This has been a very, very wonderful atmosphere. I've had points marshaled. Now, my take, I actually have a bent towards the Ebonyi case. Ebonyi could also represent some of the aspirations of other people if what we think they are doing is actually what they're doing. Now, hear me out. Today in the world, there's this whole thing about blood minerals, the tantalites, there's the other one with that name starts with C, which are used in our phones. And these things are being mined in very funny parts of the world, including the Congo and all these other crazy countries like Uzbekistan, places like that. For instance, there's always this rumor in the Congo that, certain jets land in the middle of the jungle and people live with suitcases of a few like minerals that are actually millions of dollars in worth, and they go to, all the big tech companies. Now, I always thought that Ebonyi is probably one of Nigeria's best kept secrets in terms of minerals. Who knows whether that's what that man is thinking? Because that's the only way it could make sense, right? If someone thought, how do I get several kilograms of, very, very valuable minerals out of the state in such a way that it could either be overt or covert, but it could be good business or bad business either way. It would just be to create an airport, because that's the only way it makes sense to me, right? And I know for one that for an engineer who's worked with all the oil majors, probably building big stuff, the guy is not afraid of concrete, he's not afraid of steel. There must be a reason why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, but I don't have any issues with the airport. I have no issues with I have an issue with the cost of the airport.
Exactly. So when I said it's one of the best kept secrets in terms of minerals in Nigeria, if you ever went through the University of Nigeria in Nsukka and you are studying geology, you are never going to graduate until you have taken a trip into Ebonyi State. I do not know what.
So why is Ebonyi State poor if they have these resources? So
here is what I think, right? When you check that the first Minister of Education was from Ebonyi State, Ajawanchukwu was from Nigeria, from Ebonyi State, and I know that in the First Republic there was a lot of scholarships that were given out. People like Doyin Okokwe today are beneficiaries of those scholarships. Now, what I do not know is how much of the people who were in that area that actually benefited from these scholarships, right? I remember during the burial of that minister, there were so many gentlemen from across the country who graced that occasion. What was the word on their lips was that this man would actually visit them in their different schools abroad. Now, what really happened after the First Republic? There was a deliberate, I don't know whether it was unanimous or just subconscious, there was a unanimous kind of set of policies that kept that place out of any meaningful development.
So you're saying it was a conspiracy theory to keep Ebonyi out of development?
I really don't.
You remember that there was no Ebonyi State back then. There was just Anambra. There was just Imo and maybe Anambra. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know.
Let me just learn. So funnily enough, in these two places that were carved into Ebonyi State, right? One part was in old Imo, the other part was in old Anambra, and both areas were suffering the same level of neglect from both governments, and they kept bunching them together. When they went into Abia and Enugu, it was same problem until they were now just taken as the worst of the worst and put together. You know, you guys just get out of here and go and perish. Now, so I'm looking at a man who probably thought, you know what, I know stuff is here, I know what I know, and I'm going to do what I need.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is anyone can say this. Anyone can say what you're saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. Sorry. Anyone can say what you're saying. No, come on, guys.
Just 1 minute. I'll close my argument. Okay, just 1 minute. So I'm thinking that in the First Republic, down to the government of Shehu Shagari, there was the minerals there have always been there, right? They never went away. The government failed to tap really into that mass. Those things are still there. Chinese are in that place. Only God knows what they are taking out of that place. It's a very well kept secret.
It's not a secret if you are saying it on Twitter. Listen, bro. The point is this, right? No, hold on, bro. Hold on. Hold on. I'll mute you if you don't hold on. Hold on, sir. Hold on. The point I'm asking you is this: do we need a 2 billion naira airport to accomplish this secret you're talking about? That's the question. And 2 billion is just in this stage. Do we need that? No. That's the point. I'm not against the airport. But the state is poor. It's been poor for 25 years. No one has fixed it.
So I think that the first thing that needs to come into such a poor state is IGR. So if anyone is thinking that...
IGR is up nearly 800% in Ebonyi State. Kudos to the government. It's up nearly 800%. Kudos to the government.
That's data. That's data.
What? So what I'm thinking is that even at that 800%, most of us here still know that it has not yet started translating into...
How will this airport get to how will an airport make the woman in Abakaliki richer?
So here is what I think. Someone wants to leapfrog, okay, work two things at the same time, having been deprived for so long. If other people had taken care of some of these projects, this wouldn't be the issues that this man is contending with right now. Building roads in 2021, these are things that were supposed to have been long done.
But my brother, every state in Nigeria has bad roads. Every state. You are describing 36 states in Nigeria. What you're just saying now describes 36 states in Nigeria. The point I am making, and I'm not talking about Ebonyi, Jigawa, you've heard about you guys talk. Everybody has been, and I'm saying, why do we need an expensive airport to accomplish the export of this? How much is it? Why do you need? That's what I'm saying. Why do we need an expensive airport?
So you see, this question brings us back to regional integration. I had the development finance guy for engineering talking about how people can come together, crowdfund and own and manage and all of these things. You know, I also heard you talk about the NNDC, the Northern Nigeria Development Company, and what they had planned out. These are the plans of progressive people, visionaries who see light years ahead of their time, right? Now, we would have expected that the right kind of answer to your question is that there are visionaries who are sitting somewhere who have decided, look, we are 5 states, we are 6 states in this region. Why don't we just have something? For instance, in the Southeast, I do not think that there is one single company that is jointly owned by the 5 state governments. If that were the case, then at least we'll say, oh, they are owning their skills by owning a pure water manufacturing company. And from there, they are going ahead to own a small paint manufacturing company. And then ideas like this that make an airport viable. I mean, 2 billion shared 5 ways, right? That's not so much, especially if that money is.
Anna, what's on your mind? Anna, what's on your mind?
Not much.
What they said that they are lifting minerals. You know, there's a Nigerian billionaire in Texas. His name is Kasilawa. And he was in Congo and he was arrested and his plane arrested. The government, they were arrested at Goma, that they were about to lift about $20 million worth of gold. And that plane was there for about 6 weeks. It was actually sold for about $32 million. So you can imagine, just close to what you were saying.
No, but same thing in Zamfara. Zamfara, bandits are all about gold. We have banditry in Zamfara because of the gold, not because some punks want to do banditry. It's the same story. Go to Jos Plateau. Jos Plateau is richer in terms of minerals than even the Ebonyi he's speaking of. The point I am making, and I want to be very, very clear on this, right? Every local government area in Nigeria needs an airport. That's not the issue. The point we're trying to make is this: what is the multiplier? How do you fund it? Is it necessary? Is it at the top end of the scale of preference? If you have a very, very poor state surrounded by rich, why is Ebonyi poor? Surrounded by southeast, south states that have money. Why is just Ebonyi that is, quote unquote, and I'm being very respectful here, illiterate and poor? This is the data, not me. I didn't say so. Google it. And to take Ebonyi out, and I have said we have to sit down and do a data lab and plan out. I am not sure that if we did a data lab on Ebonyi, an international airport would appear as a solution. But I may be wrong. I'm just saying what's coming to my mind.
What I said in it is that we always see, when we go into industries in the Nigerian context, we always go for the hard infrastructure. We don't go for the soft infrastructure. If crude oil gives us about, let's say, 80% of our revenues, what is the contribution? The value contribution by GDP is very low. And I just mentioned Ireland. Ireland is the leasing headquarters of the world for aircrafts. There are 5,000 aircrafts leased there, worth about $130 or $150 billion. That generates money. Crude oil processing accounts for about 80% of Singapore's GDP. So we need to leave hard infrastructure and go into the knowledge economy.
And let me ask you a direct question. Anna, do you know any economy that involves mining that uses aeroplanes and not rails? Do you know any industry, maybe in Russia or Congo, that they're into? Congo is a field, let's leave Congo alone, that is into heavy mining but uses aeroplanes and not rails. Do you know any?
You use aeroplanes now because it's heavy now.
So you use what? What do you use? Rails, right?
Rail.
So why can't why can't Ebonyi build a rail? Why?
Good question.
Okay, let's move on. I've got Laja, Lasizo. How are you doing, sir? The man from Turkey. What's happening?
Yeah, good evening, brother.
How you doing?
I'm good evening, everybody. I'm doing fine. Appreciate you for always being, bringing this space to educate us. But before I make my little contribution, I want to know, please, is international airport, is it a state or federal project?
No, any airport in Nigeria is always federal, which states build and then FAN will just come and run it. It's always federal. Any airport in Nigeria, whatever you name it, is always federal.
And that's the problem I have with our leaders, right? It's like we are caused with leaders with one eyes. They have this roga, but their own is natural. It's not like they have one eye. We will not be lucky to have a leader with 2 eyes. Not even talk about foresight. When they want to do a project that will not benefit them, they will always say it's federal. They will always say it's federal. most states in the East don't have road. If you, even someone on this place said that it's federal. But when they want to do and will benefit them, they will not. They will do it. This airport has been launched. I think it has been built.
It's been built right now, and so the issue on Twitter for about 2 days now on Twitter, I've been going on about this airport, and I've been talking about this.
I saw.
So and people are coming back saying, "Oh, you are jealous. Oh, the man is building infrastructure. Oh, blah blah." Okay, but the truth of the matter is that we have limited resources. And has given us a technical term, but we have limited resources. This is the point. And if you and Ebonyi does not generate wealth, Ebonyi receives wealth from the federal government. So when you receive pocket money, you have to spend your pocket money very well. You have to invest that pocket money to get more pocket money. This is the point I'm trying to make. I'm not against the airport.
No, I understand.
Delta spent 6 billion to blow up, is it a hill, to build their own airport, but they have oil money. They can do it. Ebonyi does not.
You know, Reno Omokri, there was a tweet he made about something like this, like that anytime she talks about us being the Southeast, they always attack him, right? Whether he's saying the truth or not. He made a tweet about that. But when he made a tweet about other people, they don't attack him like that. So I wasn't really surprised with the backlash and the back and forth and all this stuff. I've not been to Ebonyi, but I think there was a day I was browsing and I saw I don't know if I should call it an ocean or something that is bordering around Ebonyi. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that.
I don't know.
From what I saw, I think they have an ocean or is it a bar beach or something.
Yeah, they have a very beautiful lake or something like that, like a beach. They have something like that they could do a lot of tourism in. Yes, they do have that. Yes.
Yes, like these are things that when I saw it, I was like, man, this money.
The state has potential. The state has potential. I mean, but we have to. They have to spend the money right. That's just my take. Build a road, 10-lane road to that lake. Target Lagos people to come there. Build chalets there. People will come there from Lagos, relax there. You make some IGR. Then you build a small private jet strip. Then you build a bigger airport. I posted a tweet of Dubai. How Dubai built their airport. This Dubai airport was in Dubai now. You saw how they started. They started from the small tent to a big house. They didn't wake up and build that thing we see in Dubai now. Those guys sat down and planned and built it. Larger thanks. I want to get some other guys in here. I do appreciate you calling from Turkey. You guys take care of
Let me just chip in this before I leave. Sorry. I don't know if you are aware that when you also have human capital in terms of strength, like strength to farm and strength to work. I don't know if you are aware of that too.
I don't know about that or what you're speaking of. Strength to work.
Yeah, I know because they usually come to Abia State to farm for people and they get paid. Like they have that strength.
Okay, I mean that's a good and a bad thing, but I'll let it slide. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. I'll let it slide. That's a good and bad thing. Olawaski, how are you, sir? Larger thanks to my Olawaski. Please unmute. Let's hear you speak, sir. Olawaski going once. Olawaski going twice. Just going to add a few speakers here. Give me a second. Looks like Ola is not ready yet, so we're going to have. Oh my God, I have a lot of people here. Let me just add them real quick. Sorry, I'm just going to add you guys real quick. Chinedu, hi, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Tunde. Tunde, how are you? Good afternoon, sir. Go ahead. What's up?
Yes. Now, I'm a Yoruba person, and I want to say why I'm a Yoruba person.
Well, let's hear.
But I serve in Ebonyi State, and I know that state in out. Now, with due respect, Ebonyi State does not need an international airport. Enugu to Abakaliki is just an hour's drive. If the road is well managed, it's an hour's drive. I serve in Ebonyi State. You could know that there is a rail link from the rail that goes from Enugu that has a spur that enters into the Niger Cement Company as in Kalagu. That's why I even served. I served at Niger Cement Company in Kalagu. It was the largest company in the then Eastern region.
Yeah.
And I feel sad that company is virtually dead about today. Indeed, there's one thing I always mock my good friends about that. Why is it that in the southeast you don't have a cement company? The man who spoke about resources in the Ebonyi State was saying the truth. Because from the cement, the limestone goes from Ankala, Abakaliki zone up to Boko. That's all the ground there is limestone. Because I did chemical engineering, and that's why. So when it comes to resources, yes, but I know that state in out. You know, if you realize that when you get that tweet about poverty, I weep for Ebonyi State. Because that state should be one of the richest states in the country. They have salt. I know it. They have some other mineral resources. Yes. But one thing there is education is lacking in that place. And I think any government,
I wonder why.
With due respect, education. There was one school at Onweke, Ezages High School. Indeed, the school was virtually empty. People don't go there. I can boast about. I go to the rural areas. I know that place. What the government is doing, which is good, is developing Abakaliki main town. Most of his projects, maybe apart from the university, which he went to his home, his hometown, are mainly centered in Abakaliki, and that's the problem. There are rural areas in that place. Indeed, one problem they had in Ebonyi State, the member was Guinea Worm. Indeed, then it was called the Guinea Worm zone of Enugu State. I can remember very vividly. These are facts. I served there, I stayed there, and I can tell you villages going from Nkaleha down to Ezangu, down to Isheru, down to Onweke, down to and they also have this Chaiba Onweke crisis, but that's not for today. What I believe the governor there should have done is human capital development. That state, sorry to say, again, I don't know whether it's a cultural problem. It is most of the maids in that state don't go to school. I can say it boldly because we were there, we are doing advocacy and education. So I know what I'm saying. And I'm not saying because I'm saying out of unhappiness, not because I'm clothes. It's not a matter of clothes. But that state is not far from Enugu now. It's not far from Enugu. It's not far from Enugu. So I'm surprised that why they have an Akanu Ibiam International Airport at Enugu. What they can maybe do is just have a small cargo shopping. They have a lot of rice. They have a lot of cassava. The person who spoke about farming, that's the truth. Going to the villages, they have people who work serious on the farm. I can say it. So I believe that concerning the Ebonyi airport, and I believe the challenge, even in my southwest too, they want to build an airport at Iberu. My state was just want to build an airport at Shaki. I don't know, maybe this is in Ukraine. Every state should have airports. Why do you want an airport in southwest? Ibadan. I have somebody working in farm. Apart from Lagos, Kano, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, all the other airports in Nigeria today are lost. They are lost. And that's why there's the fight for this MMA too. Because they believe that if not for this MMA, they can't even pay their salaries. I have people working there. Remove those 4 airports, all the other airports, go to Akure Airport now, maybe once in a week. And there's an airport in Akure, once in a week. And who knows if you want to build an airport, if it is how many hours? Just 1 hour. Or Osun, which is just an hour's drive from Ibadan, wants to have an airport, Osun State. The one in Ibadan, what are we using it for? How many people go in Ibadan in a week? So you see, I think it's an issue of misplaced priorities. You can have airstrips, no doubt about it, but you don't need gigantic big projects to now say we built airport, international airports.
That's the thing. Why don't they like airstrips? I mean, have an airstrip. It serves the purpose.
They can use airstrips.
I mean,
maybe landing
aero contractors. There's worry. I've talked about the one in Port Harcourt.
My brother spoke about the Gombe Bauchi Airport. Bauchi to Jos is 1 hour. I've traveled to 30 states in this country, so I know what I'm saying. Bauchi to Jos is 1 hour. Gombe to Bauchi is maybe 2 hours. And you have and the people there go to see the people in the villages. You weep. Maybe some of us in the cities, we don't, especially in this southwest, we don't want to call poverty. Go there, and you see people in their poverty, and you go and there are governors there for years, and what are they doing? And the next thing they will say, we built an airport. They only use it for maybe a Hajj, because of people going to Hajj. That's why most of those airports in the north are make it functional. They want it for every problem.
All right, Tunde, I think Tunde, I hear you. I hear you. Great points as usual. I completely hear you. I completely agree with you. I mean, if an airport has Hajj, to me that's a use case right there. That's revenues coming right there. So
Hajj only takes place from Nissan. It's less than a month in the year.
I know, but it's better. I'm being cynical, but that's a use case, right?
It's less than a half.
I hear you. I hear you.
What are they doing there? I was in Kano one time looking at the airport and I say, how many times do they use this airport even in Kano? The usage is like we are tying down money, we are not using it. I believe what we should go mainly is what the government is doing, railway construction. I told you in Nigeria, when coming in Kalago, coal was, they designed the railway of Nigeria to be bringing coal from the Onyema mine, Onyekaba mine in Enugu, down to Nkalagu. When I was there, it was bringing, then I just stopped. Why can't they revive it? Take coal from Enugu down to Nkalagu.
That's a different species. So, and if we start on coal now, we won't close today. But I hear you, Tunde. I appreciate you. Tunde.
We're talking of infrastructure.
No, I hear you. You are completely right. I think coal matter. You know, EU, green people, Greta Thunberg, them. I hear you. No, you know,
Germany, are they not using code?
But Germany, I hear you now. But Germany is the one, they have money. We are borrowing. But I hear you today. Okay. I hear you.
And we are borrowing to pay subsidy. Remember, we are so borrowing to pay subsidy.
All right, super.
Let me use the blood to others. Thanks.
I appreciate you. Let me have Oluwaxi. I say you're back. Can you speak now? Oluwaxi, your hand is up. Can you speak right now? Go ahead, sir. Oluwaxi going one. Oluwaxi going twice. Chinedu, hop right in, sir. What's up?
Yeah, good evening. Mr. Kam, thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for creating this space. This is what I want to say. It's a general problem in Nigeria because we don't have continuity in government. Every new government wants to do something that the people will clap for them or whatever. So that's why every new government comes in and they start White Elephant Project. Let me use Anambra State as a case study. Recently, Anambra State completed their airport. But let me tell you that with good road, it's just 40 minutes drive from Oka to Enugu. So supposing we have something like Southeast Integrated Development Strategy or plan, you see that the airport in Enugu can serve both Anambra and Ebonyi. And we don't need to build an airport.
No, me, I don't agree with you. I don't agree. I think Enugu, even not just Enugu can have 3 or 4 airports. I don't. The problem is not the airport; it's the type. See, I've told you in the county in America where I live, right, or where I stay.
Yeah.
They have 3 airports, but it's a strip. When you say airport, it's a strip. Then they have those tents we use for weddings. That's the arrival hall. Then they have cabins.
Exactly.
So that thing will cost you $100,000 now.
But look at what we are doing. The government said that they used over 5 billion to construct the Anambra airport. And when you look at that, there are other areas in the state. Roads are not working. Roads are bad. Most of our last investment
you should fly from
in education in Anambra State was done by Governor P2B, and since then we've invested nothing in our education, in our health sector, and we are just busy undertaking these massive projects. For example, there's another project that I criticize so much in Anambra State that they call International Conference Center. We already have a project or an infrastructure that is close to that. And the state government, rather than improving on the one we have, decided to start a different project altogether. And when you have these massive structures, we have maintenance problem. They are not going to be maintained over a period of time. So my own contribution is this. The problem is because we don't have plans. We don't have plans that will follow. If we do, just like we said, Ebonyi State needs more investment in education, in healthcare, rather than spending such huge amount of money on international airports. So it boils down to the type of leaders we elect. They come in without plan, and just like in Anambra State recently, our new governor announced that they're going to build a befitting government house and governor's lodge,
which is all about
a befitting government house or a befitting. So the issue is
the spending, Chinedu. The issue is this: Nigeria has a spending problem, not a revenue problem. That's what we keep on saying. The spending.
Exactly.
All right, let me get some other guys to hop in here real quick, if you don't mind. I appreciate you calling in, right? Olawaski, can you speak now, sir? Okay, I think you have some problems with your speaker. So let me just go straight to Mubarak. Mubarak, how are you doing, sir? Mubarak, you can unmute and speak, sir. Mubarak.
Hello.
I can hear you. Hi.
Yeah. So I think I will align with you that Nigeria has a spending problem because this airport issue, it's really a big problem, especially down in the north. If you look at, for example, Jigawa State, I could remember I was in the airport when it was about to be completed. Sulalamido spent 11 billion to build that airport. And I tell you, there is no flight to Jigawa. These politicians just build airport for their own personal use. They cannot afford to be following the road because they are bad at a lot of other factors. So that's just the main reason why they do that. If not, you look at a lot of places, you just have flight once in a week, twice in a week, and you just, spend billions of Naira, whereas you have enormous problem, education, health sector, a lot of things. So it's really sad, actually. And there are a lot of examples to give to correlate with what you've been saying all the time, that Nigeria has spending problem. You understand? So thank you for the good job you've been doing.
Appreciate you hopping in, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, sir. All right, Mega Wani, let me see. That's Victor Bia. Go ahead, sir.
Greetings, everyone.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. All right, so I just want to, agree to what was it Tunde? Yeah, I think it was Tunde.
Tunde, yeah, Tunde.
Yeah, he said a lot about Ebonyi State. Yeah, well, in all honesty, what I can tell everybody for a fact is everything Tunde has said is true. So I served in Ebonyi a long time ago, and truth be told, Ebonyi has a lot of mineral resources. There were times whereby while I served in Afipu South, right? So when you're taking your bath, the water is salty, so they have salt water. So you take your bath, and then the effect of the whole salt water, rubs on your skin and all of that. You begin to have infections and all of that. That's one. Aside the fact of Ebonyi State having salt water, which that can be processed into something good, making salt. One, they also have limestone, which we all know the benefits of this. I see no reason. I agree totally with you, which is, what you're saying is building an airport is not bad, but at this moment, scale of preference, what do you need most? Students there don't go to school. I said as a teacher, students there, they don't go to school. You have a problem in education, and yet you are building an airport. So I want to say this. There was a time in Ebonyi State whereby there is these people they call Senegalese. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. So these people are called Senegalese. They are Guineans to be precise, but in Nigeria they just call them Senegalese. They are much down here in Southwest. But while I was serving, so they have these people who come from Guinea. They come down to Nigeria and go into the bushes and spend sometimes a month, 2 months in the bush looking for limestone and precious stone. So what they do is they just go to the bush and spend, a month, 2 months in these bushes. And then what they do is they get as much limestone, as much precious stone as they can get their hands on. And then what do? They leave this forest or bushes. And then they in most cases, in fact, this is what they do. They just find a way, to export it to Thailand and then make money off it. And this has been going on. I don't know if it has stopped now, but this has been going on for a very long time. So like you said, scale of preference. We are not saying you shouldn't build an airport, but scale of preference, what do you need most? The thing that you would do that would have a ripple effect, immediate ripple effect, and then it will be felt everywhere. So I think the governor, in all honesty, is wrong on that. You are borrowing money, and this is what you're using money to do. Hello. My question now to everyone is, what is the way forward? Now, sincerely speaking, I've always said this time and time again, they are not leaders, they are all rulers, because they don't, I struggle to find characteristics of a leader in them. So what is the way forward? That's my question to the group.
I hear you. Yeah, we'll see someone will take it up. Well, I see at the end, I still have a resource person is still here. Hi, who is speaking?
Good evening.
Let me see who is speaking.
Hello, everyone.
Is that Chuku? Who is speaking? Oh, Ola. Is that Ola? How are you, Ola? You've been dropping off and I've been adding you, so go ahead, please. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this space, Mr. Aja. And I just want to, the last speaker spoke my mind. That is where I want to start from. What is the solution, Mr. Aja? And this is to you. Please don't take this personally. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Please, sir, don't take this personally. Sir, Nigeria needs you. Please. Your knowledge of wealth and economics, we need you. How can you get involved? Please. Even if it means for you to volunteer to join a local party in your state, sorry to say, and you share these ideas, maybe to the local government chairman or just one councillor, please.
Ola, that's what I'm doing on Twitter, right? That's what I'm doing on Twitter. I bring people like...
Twitter will not win us anything.
I hear you.
Remember Twitter, you cannot win election on Twitter. This just showed what just happened the last few weeks.
I hear you. No, but I hear you. I hear your sentiment. I mean, what's the way forward? Even on the tweets we did, right?
The way forward, Mr.
We put lots of way forward, right? I personally...
Things you've been saying, Mr. Aja, please, sorry to cut you, sir. All the things we've been saying, you wrote an article recently about primary health care, the whole 774 local government in Nigeria, how we can do primary health care, 10 in each local government. Did you know when I read that, what you said, a senator raised that, and I just realized that they've actually spent such money during Obasanjo tenure, 400 billion. And there's nothing to show for it. Primary health care units for the whole 774 local governments in Nigeria. Obasanjo awarded 400 billion. And the senator just raised that in the House recently, some few months back. And now the contractors that got this contract, we're just moving mattress into the hospitals that they built, that they've abandoned the projects. My question again, Mr. Aja, what is the way forward? We've seen the problems. We know we don't have revenue problem, it's a spending problem, but what is the way forward? Are we going to continue like this, Mr. Aja?
I hear you, sir. So all I see, I have my own solutions. I put them on Twitter, and I just said for specific for, like Anna has given a very, very good summary that we should go back and work with data, let the data drive the decisions on spending. But I personally, for a boy, I was saying, focus on the people. What do the people need? Just look at Maslow, food, shelter, education. Focus on that. When people are educated, there's a direct correlation between education and wealth. You heard people say, boy, guys don't go to school. That's why they are not as rich as the other Southeast folks that go to school. So you need to focus on that. It's not just to build a school. It seems to me it needs more of educating them to link education to wealth. There's something off in that state that needs to be fixed. If you build a Dubai International Airport in that state, no one would use it from a Ebonyi state. So what's the point? So I've written lots of stuff on Twitter. I hear you. Like, but I don't want to make it about.
Sorry, please.
I don't want to make it about me or Ebonyi or whatever. I hear you.
It's not about Ebonyi. We're talking generally. Can you just join an association in Nigeria? Just volunteer, please, sir.
I mean,
just volunteer.
Okay, we'll come to that.
To just share your knowledge and your wisdom, your idea with people that are in places that we go to places. At least we will get to somebody.
I hear you.
Please, sir. Thank you so much.
I hear you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the comment.
Carlos, would it not be better to have mobile hospitals instead of fixated hospitals?
Like, you know what I always thought of, is to buy those American hospitals, those big fat, those like squares, and move them and just take up the tires and just put them as a primary health care. I always thought about that idea, just to have a primary health care, get that US box ambulance that has everything, oxygen, everything, build a canopy around it or whatever, and it's just there. Maybe have 2 per ward or whatever, primary health care. Start from there. I mean, let's just think of what we can do with less Naira. We don't have money. So instead of building, you see this huge hospital, half is staff quarters, none is operating theaters. I just think that we can do much more. So, I mean, hey, I'm just doing the spaces. So if, Ola, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. QWERTY Gandalf. Hop right in. How you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good afternoon, depending on where you're from.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to finally speak to you in person, and I'm happy to speak to a lot of the people I see on stage. I enjoyed listening to a lot of you, Sabine. I enjoy what I see, and I'm happy to be amongst you. Very quickly, the other guy that spoke was who was asking Mr. Kalu to join an association. I think you are. I don't want to, with due respect, I think what Mr. Kalu is doing in educating us on Twitter goes a great way, a long way to wake up a lot of the minds that can actually do stuff regardless of, without being tainted as one party or belonging to another group or the other. So I think being sort of neutral and educating people will make his message more acceptable regardless of what association or what region you are from. I think that will be good to maintain, right? For me, I don't have a lot of things to say. I actually came to request for assistance in terms of, like, I read books, a lot of books, and one of the ones that I enjoy most about national development is How Asia Works by Joe Stuggle. I don't know if anybody has or remembers that book. So I'm looking for similar titles that will help me understand how some of these countries have risen from poverty, and gone into mass production, manufacturing, and lifted their people and their countries, from abject poverty to industrialization. Because I read all of these things, and I also think that depending on government for everything might not be an effective approach, so to speak. I really believe that the private sector needs to sometimes, in some areas, especially in some of the rural areas, take the lead in some of these projects. I don't know how that will work entirely. So that's why I say I'm here to request assistance. So that my question now is, how is it, or what examples have you seen out there that the private sector has led, like lifting communities or regions out of poverty that we can, aspire to or learn from? I'm looking for book recommendations and examples that can be pointed at that we can study. Thank you.
Great. I mean, I have two books I could recommend for you, right? One is one from Singapore. Of course, everyone knows that one. They leak one, your book, the leak one. How do you pronounce his name? That Singapore one might still.
Lee Kuan Yew.
That one is pretty good. Then the other one is a startup nation. That's about Israel.
From third world to first world.
Third world to first world. Yeah, that one is pretty good. It makes reference to Nigeria there as well. Very interesting reference to Nigeria he made there. Also, startup nation. That's Israel. That's
the one Israeli one.
yeah, startup nation. That's Israel. That's also pretty good. I think the Dubai guy owned is good, but I haven't read it. But I know if anyone has read it.
Banker to the Poor by Muhammad Yunus.
That's also good, but that's more like a private guy, right? Yeah, but that one was. I like that one, Enna, because of the way he saw the problem, then he scaled. You can see how the guy scaled. I like that one a lot. You can see how he took an idea, started it, worked it, then scaled it to what it is today. So that's also a good one if you want to talk about credits and that rural credit. And it's, but Startup Nation to me was the best that I read. But these really guys.
What of Mogalo's book?
Which one?
Big.
Mogalo
wrote a book, Big.
I haven't read it. But
I think that one is better.
Yeah, Okonjo Iweala's is good, but she talks more or less of her experience. It's not more of development, but it's also good for us to see how Africa is. I like Jim Ovia's biography. It's a biography as well. Jim Ovia. There's I don't know the title, but he wrote about how he went from just a guy to a worker to wrote his business plan to getting a bank license. Because it's Nigerian, right? You could actually see, you learn a lot from just reading that book, the Jim Ovia one. It's very good. Yeah, I like that one a lot. So I think those 4 books start from there and all that. That should be working.
I think I the back where they are thinking the wrong way also.
Yeah. They wrote one, right? Christ, yeah. So those are good Nigerian takes are very good because they give you that Nigerian flavor. You like the Jim was talking about how he got the license. It was very interesting how he was able to go from what he was doing to license. Now you see how the army looked at satellite dishes, things that you think are not important, but I like that a lot. Yeah. So I would say Startup Nation and that Jim's book. I think you're on your way there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go back to Startup Nation. I think I read that, if I still have the audible.
Yeah.
I read that a few years back. I keep on quite so this living the tobacco.
That's true. Yeah.
Living the tarmac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to get
those.
Very much. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent.
Bible will help you to also carry Bible. Bible will help you. Yes, the funny thing is, a lot of people don't understand how to draw lessons from the Bible, but I have found that the Bible, when it comes to managing humans, right, or managing people, there are a lot of examples to draw from in the Bibles and religious books as well.
Yeah,
very
I'm writing a book now, right, and it's Bible stories, but written in contemporary business stories. That's my new book right now. And I give you a thing. I wrote about the Sovereign Wealth Fund and Joseph. There is nothing in the world right now that is in the Bible. And I say nothing. There's nothing new. Stock trading is in the Bible. Sovereign Wealth Fund, even cryptocurrencies, it's in the Bible. You have to just look for it and see it. It's not called crypto, but you see it there.
Also, the guide is written. If you were to, in the context of where Nigeria is and where you want Nigeria to be, what country or economic bloc would you want to relate Nigeria with and why?
China. China, straight up. No, China.
I think it's the Far East Asia.
Population, very poor nation. The Chinese came to Nigeria in 1970 to look at our overhead bridges. They were very poor. They couldn't go to Europe. They had heard of this overhead bridge that in the world. They came to Nigeria and studied them. True story. They had only one bridge over the Yangtze in China in the 70s. Nigerians were richer than Chinese people by far. They came here, looked at our bridge, looked at everything. Then they went back and invested in education. And of course, we had that guy that said, it doesn't matter if the cat is white or black, let it catch mice. They simply copied Hong Kong, build these little clusters that were just a country outside China, but in that little enclave on the coast, you could do entrepreneurship. And it worked. And they simply adopted those enclaves across China. What the Chinese have done has never been done in the world. They have eliminated extreme poverty for nearly 800 million people. You don't hear anyone talk about it. They eliminated it. Not that it's gone. The Chinese, in how many years? If you look at the map of Nigeria and China, you could see they cut us, I think, in the 1980s, and they've gone. They've gone. So Nigeria should just go copy what China did. The US is a bit more, we don't like them. The Chinese are more, we're more Chinese than the West, you know. And if we could copy how they run their economy from imports and spending to having long-term planning, to investing in infrastructure, to educating the youth, and most importantly, rule of law. They settle the rule of law issue. You can't do anyhow in China, then everything else follows. They copy, then they mass produce. So we need that Chinese. Japan is South Africa, but we are China. That's what I think. All right, so let's see who's next here. We've got Chuku. Chuku, hi. Omele Chuku.
Hi.
Hey, sorry about if I killed your name, man. Twitter names are hard to pronounce here.
It's fine. Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for this. You know, once in a while we need to have one person or many people draw us back to things that we think are not very important. So for the issues around capital expenditure, you know, I look at it and I see that these things go, let's say, way beyond or even before our politicians.
Yeah.
And you go to things, you go to the public sector, for example, and the commissioner comes in, or there's a new permanent secretary around, and you know, there are obvious things to do. Things around staff welfare. The toilets are not clean. The offices they have bad tables. Staff don't have chairs. You know, people come in and you have a chair. You're rushing to come early because you need to get a chair. And this is a proper government office. But what does the commissioner do? The commissioner tries to do one big project where they say is a legacy project in the office. The commissioner may try to go and set up he may try and build a canteen. Build a canteen and say it's a staff canteen. Meanwhile, the place where everybody does the actual work isn't functional. You don't have computers in the office. The computers in the office are down. Nobody wants to look at these things. There's no staff training. And this is what I'm saying. This is just a commissioner, right? And you go a step further, you go to the local government chairman. He doesn't do anything. Every month he has like 100 million. What does he do? He looks for one big project. He comes up with, and the interesting thing is that when these projects come up, they do a big substandard project. So what does he try to do? He may say something like he's building a big borehole in his town or community. He builds a substandard borehole. The governor, whoever comes to commission and pump one or two, or try to get one or two cups of water from an already filled reservoir with a tanker, and you deceive everybody, and everybody goes. And when you look at the figures, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Something that will cost 1,000 naira is being built for 1 million naira.
Yeah.
For me, it's clear madness. So this thing goes up, and it gets to the governor. And this is another problem we have with people that have not. I have with people that have not built anything from scratch. They've not managed anything from the mid-level of the stuff. Being a governor or running things around the government, the Nigerian government. Because what happens is that you come in and you meet a whole lot of money. There's going to be a clear difference when you see someone that has built a business up to a point and gets into politics. And you give him 1 billion naira. You look at it. Okay, how do I prioritize my money? Staff welfare, education. Even if I need to build a big project, Nigeria has. If you talk of big projects, we have 1,000,001 to do. But I'd rather build something that they'll call. Oh, my name is Chuka, for example. I have something that they'll call Chuka Onbuemeli in airports. I call the president to commission I have things, that you have your name on every wall built by, and it's total nonsense. That is a clear example we have with Ebonyi State. That's the clear example we have in every other state. In Enugu State, there's no water. And this water issue has been on for all the time. You go to Abia State, the roads are a mess. The governor is out there lounging like we saw today in Turkey. And even when so the problem is not just that they throw in so much on infrastructure. They throw it in on the wrong infrastructure. So the things, and the Nigerian society, a huge part of their followership are not literate, or maybe literate and just maybe poor and hungry. So you have to eat to survive. And if you have to eat to survive, you won't go and start fighting the governor, for example, and saying things around. Yeah. And saying things around the governor should do X and X. So what do? They praise the governor only when he has built a big airport. Because that's the tangible thing they see. And a clear example is this. Peter Obi will tell you that he moved Anambra from 26th to first in education in Nigeria. People don't even see it because people cannot touch it. They can't feel it. They don't understand it. It's the country we live in. It's so bad. So it's a whole mess. It's like a circle of mess. You don't know where to start. But if you ask me, I think we should start from one: education. You get the right sense into people. They can challenge a couple of things. They can defend a couple of things. A governor coming to tell you that he builds an airport will not mean a lot to you because the airport doesn't give you value. You tie the state money into an airport. Flights are not coming in. It's dilapidated. You've maybe employed more people. You can't even pay the staff. It puts the state in more debts. So it's crazy. We need to do things like sort out the education of people.
I agree. I agree. Education is the only investment that doesn't fail. 100% return.
It won't fail.
I agree.
So when people go, the thing is that people go around, the governors don't even care. When you see governors that care, there's so much money in every state. And I mean every state. I mean every single state in Nigeria has so much money to fix up the state. And this is not even IGR. This is what's coming from the federal government. But what happens? You rather lose them, put them into security, what you call security votes, and all sorts of nonsense. And at the end of the day, we are back to square one. The next governor comes. I'll give you an example.
Chuka, I gotta run the room. I gotta run the room, right? I hear you. I gotta run the room.
So I mean,
you gotta wind down.
Thank you very much. And I think everybody in this space just needs to do a lot.
Yeah,
we need to do a lot in terms of educating every other person. We may know, the much we know, but the next person may not know. So I think that's much. I mean, I have a lot more to say, but I think that's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chuka. Hey, Basho, what's up? Basho, I have you up here. Just unmute and go ahead and speak. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to add everyone. Don't worry about it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Hi, what's up?
You see this issue of capital expenditure.
Yeah.
And this case study with airports. I tried to explain some of these things, but sometimes people begin to look at it from a perspective that if you tell someone Anambra doesn't need an airport, a person from Anambra might look at you and say, is it that you don't like me? You don't like my people? They take these things personal. You understand? They make it look like the only reason why you don't want me to have an airport in Anambra is because you don't like me. When you tell someone from Ebonyi, you don't need an airport in Ebonyi, he doesn't see it from the aspect that there is really nothing that is driving people to Ebonyi. Ebonyi is not a hub for anything that will take people there in huge numbers in traffic. I doubt anybody will buy a London Ebonyi ticket, a Paris Ebonyi ticket, a China Ebonyi ticket. Do you understand me? Ebonyi is not something, it's not in a place that will bring people in their numbers to warrant an airport of its own. But many people have this, how have this emotional attachment to some things that are really, really not necessary. The most important thing that should matter is if you want to move around, your mobility should be easy. What do people need in Ebonyi State? Ebonyi is a civil servant town as well as an agrarian state. What they need in Ebonyi is a railway that can transform or that can transport all their rice, their yam, vegetables, everything they have that is agrarian from Ebonyi State to the closest state that can buy it. That's what they need. And the problem is that we do not learn from the past. I've told people, if you go to Minna, Niger State, they have an international airport in Minna. But it only works when a general's daughter is getting married. It only works during time for campaign when politicians want to come in with their private jets. It only works when people are going for Hajj. Does that warrant the expenditure?
The capital sum, yeah,
of Naira to maintain an airport, to fuel their generator, to pay the staff, to make sure the facilities are functional? Does it make any sense? But people will look at you as if, maybe it's because of our culture, our tribes.
I hear you, Basho. I mean, the good point made there.
Yes, they will look at you like you don't like them. I tell people, Osun doesn't need an airport. They are building an airport in Osun State. You don't need it. What Osun needs is to ensure that the railway that is from Osun to Lagos is functioning all the time, 24 hours. The roads are tarred. The communication and the movement from Lagos to Osun, you should make sure it is seamless. That is what you need. People in Osun are so poor that...
Okay, Basho, let's start to wind it down. On the room.
Okay, sir.
I mean, the point... Go ahead.
We need to do differently.
Just give me 1 minute, sir, please.
No, not really. Basho, we got a lot of people who want to speak. A lot of people.
30 seconds. Another problem is our politicians. Our politicians they are not thinking about the effect of what they are doing because it's not their money. They spend this money like it's nobody's business. A governor comes in, builds an airport. Another one comes in, decides to do another railway. No plan, nothing. Everybody's just doing things anyhow. At the end of the day, these things are not viable. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Basho. Anna, what's up? You want to say something?
Another way, I think, is we can swap even roads and use it as temporary airports. We can look at this road for this particular time, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. We'll convert the highway because the longest runway is about, let's say, 4-point-something kilometers. So let's say from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or let's say a 2-hour window, we'll turn that road to a highway. I think we can use it for dual purpose.
I mean, it's doable. It's doable, right? It's doable. It's doable. I like that. I like it. I mean, it's out of the box, but it's doable. The military guys use it. We can also try it out here. I hear you. Climate justice.
I think another problem they also have is, I'll tell you, of those capital projects, the contractors that handle it are not from the states.
Yeah, go ahead.
I must appreciate you at least for doing this and bringing us together to discuss how we can move the nation forward. It all boils down to we as people who have our worst representing us or governing us as against having our best representing us. When you look at it, we cannot, we have to point out that we are somewhat like a sprint-tricked people who fail to prioritize. I was fortunate sometimes to be in the public service, and to my greatest surprise, having a director having like 6 to 10 people serving him. You have the driver, you have this. I was like, come on, how can you manage this if you were to be your business? This also takes us to the Oronsoye report. How will you
So, how will you have an agency that cannot fund itself and all it relies on its government subvention on a monthly basis, and those agencies keep existing? So it's one, it's for us, it goes beyond talking. Action like yours, and others have to be involved as well. So that, because we talk a lot as set of people, we talk and less action. So we need to have, beyond this, how do you have the best among us to be our decision maker? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the short term. Thank you so much. Let's have, oh my God. Yeah, Yusuf, hi.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Kalu. I've been following your work and that of Dr. Ola Brown on Nigeria's economy. And to be honest, I've said this before. Politics in Nigeria does not attract the best of mind. And the gap between policy, academia, and industry is wide. And it is deep in every day. Why do I say that? Is that you see the incompatibility in policy and demands of public in politics, in the sense that prioritization of projects, especially infrastructural projects in this country, we've seen it with the Mambila Dam, where we have a whole charade and everything, and nothing happened. And at the end of the day, we keep on having airport after airport because the airports are the priorities for them. Like what Basho said, they are getting married, the airport serves as an access point for them to use. So at the end of the day, if you don't have intelligent people, every political economist will tell you that politics and economy are intertwined. And at the end of the day, look at what is happening in the country. So what I'm suggesting is solution to this problem is that until you get those economic advisors and know them who are giving these solutions, because to them, these are solutions. These white elephant projects, they call them solutions to their own problems. So which problem are they addressing, and how do they go about spending public funds? Because comparative policy analysis will tell you that, look, if this state has these resources and this state does not have this amount of resources, their problems are not the same. So you cannot implement what is happening there to another state. Everybody's priorities are different. So that I will not waste much time, I will allow other people to talk, and I will use the mic. Thank you.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much, guys. So, guys, we've been here for about 2 hours and 30 minutes. I appreciate everyone. We have, give or take, let me see, about 140, 150 listeners, give or take. So let's just wind down. Let everyone have a stake. If you already requested to speak, you are going to speak. I'm going to add everyone that has requested that is here now, but no more requests if you don't mind. I'm going to make sure everyone here that's requested speaks. Then we can close out the room. I think we had a very, very good discussion, lots of back and forth, and I think we've all been enriched by discussion. So just no more requests. I'm just going to make sure everyone here does get to speak. I have Oluwaski.
Oh, okay. Carlo, thank you very much.
How you doing?
Once again.
Great.
Yes, truly, man, I've really benefited a lot from this space. Anytime we hold spaces, I try as much as I can to attend because I add a lot to the little that I already know.
Super.
I just have a few things I want to contribute.
Go ahead.
Back in the days, I used to work for a part of the Nigerian state that deals with aircraft. Now, sometimes I usually wonder why our government does things the way they do. First and foremost, there was something somebody said, I was laughing at the time. The guy said you should come back. Aja, please don't make that kind of mistake. Forget Nigeria. So I swear to God, Nigerians, we kill our best. That's the truth. You're a fantastic person from where you are now. Each and every one of us is benefiting from you and from the spaces that you host, and we learn a lot. But the very moment you make that mistake of saying you're coming back to Nigeria to join a political party, that's the beginning of the death of everything that you hold here. I do not know how it happens, but Nigeria does not celebrate its best. Nigeria finds a way to stifle and kill its best. That's it. That's done. Now, do we really have a national vision as a country? Do we have a plan? Because if we did, I'm sure we would have known that we cannot keep proliferating airports. You know, the same thing we did with, for instance, now we discovered oil at Oloibiri, and all of a sudden we went to Kaduna to go and site a refinery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you see how unwise those decisions are? It means the same thinking that is behind those kinds of decisions of how many years ago is the same thinking that has been pervasive in our society till date, and that's a problem. It means we need to find a way, one way or the other, to move away from whatever it is that makes us think that way. The government and the government are so, like somebody has already said, there are walls apart. Those that are governing us do not even have any idea what is happening on the street. It's as if once you get to that seat, people wall you off and keep telling you lies. They keep telling you, Baba, now you be cool. Baba, no worry, don't mind those people. They are just shouting.
You get into the bubble.
Yes, so you're in a bubble until the day you step down from that place. You know, so I'm sure even Goodluck Jonathan would be so shocked that he was in a bubble. I'm sure he would never have believed it until the day he left that place. And he saw the way power left him and people deserted him. So you understand, whenever they see you with power in Nigeria, the people come around you, think it's because of you, it's a lie. They are coming after the things that you can offer, or the things they can glean from you as a result of the position you occupied. Now, we do not have a national vision. That's why people keep doing things anyhow. The institutions of government are not working. If it were working, why would the governor decide to just cite airports? So what is the National Assembly doing? The state assemblies rather. The state assemblies are supposed to represent people within the state.
You must be joking. What's the state assembly doing? Oh my God.
Well, I'm just saying, in an ideal situation, you know, these are the things, these are the checks and balances that these things you're saying now would have been sorted at that level. You know, oh, we want to do an airport. We do a public hearing. Okay, Aja will now come up to say, no, we do not need this. Can we do it this way? Can we do it this way? You know, those kind of things. That's where we do this brainstorming and people get knowledge of maybe, well, however, the government will not even listen to you. So it's just a joke. Whatever they want to do, they will find a way to enforce it. Now, you see, my major concern in all these things is sustainability. Of a truth, can we really sustain any of the airports that we have in the whole federation? Truly, can we? Do we have schools that are really training the pilots? Well, I know we have some schools in some parts of the Southwest. I think it's Ekiti or one of those states there where they produce pilots. And most of the pilots, even the Nigerian Air Force trains, they train them abroad because they do not really have the facilities to give them top-notch training. I understand those ones are military aircraft and that, but within Nigeria, do we have universities that are offering courses? Because having to cite an airport and all those things, they keep calling it international airport. It's not just about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So we are looking at a future where we would have lots of moribund spaces, empty spaces that are packing up because aircraft cannot be maintained, and you know the facilities and all those things, they will just pack up. So we'll now be having spaces where lots of these things are just going moribund. You know, it's a big problem waiting to happen in future if somebody that is visionary does not come on board to find a way to redirect these things in such a way that it will benefit each and every one of us.
I hear you.
I yield the mic.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Enoch, that's Okai Red. What's up, sir? Go for it.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much. What I want to say is, let's not get, spend too much time talking about these politicians and the way they make their decisions. There is a method in the madness. Don't get, let us not fool ourselves thinking they don't really know what they're doing. Of course they know what they're doing. The huge, the bigger the projects, the more money gets into their pocket. It's just as simple as that. There is no vision whatsoever in all of this, in a majority of these projects. I think I read an article sometimes, the Association of Project Managers in Nigeria, they were trying to document all abandoned projects in Nigeria. And I think as at that time, only Abuja has over 300 abandoned projects by the federal government. So projects are strewing everywhere in Nigeria, abandoned. I mean, recently there was this complex that was abandoned in Warri. It was set up to train all those guys that are blowing the pipelines and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was attacked or something. It was vandalized. And lo and behold, federal government abandoned the place. This is federal government. I mean, guys, we have a retired military general that has been unable, which is all the generals we have in Nigeria, to deal with terrorists.
That's true.
So it beggars belief that these politicians will still, they continue to come out and find something to say. I mean, this, as far as I'm concerned, these are the worst human beings on earth. But what they've done is this. They've created such poverty amongst Nigerians that an average Nigerian uses about 99% of their brain power to think of where the next bill is coming from. And that is why they can collect 5,000 Naira and vote the next 4 years of their life away.
That's on that topic we have to talk about one of these days. Well, hey.
I'm a fixed asset accountant. So this is like up my street when you're talking about capital expenditures. I mean, first of all, you have to do a feasibility study. And people will study, people with the know-how will look at the project and the feasibility of it, whether it is worth it. It's not every idea that is worth pursuing. Most of these ideas are just pet ideas. It helps them to make more money. They don't care because when they leave, the next person will not carry it out, and they don't care. I mean, there was another story recently where somebody was talking about the huge amount of money ex-governor makes through pension. I mean, Lagos State, they say it's the worst. As a governor that served just 8 years gets about 1,000% of their last salary as pension. They get 6 cars every year, every 6 years. They get a house in Lagos, they get a house in Abuja. All their medical care.
That's it's robbery. Let's call it what it is. It's just plain robbery. It's legislative robbery. But I mean, these are things we have to fix. Enoch, I hear you, and this goes back to the central question I asked: do we have a spending problem or revenue problem? You can't have a revenue problem if you're giving an ex-governor 6 cars, whatever. You can't. So it's a spend problem. So
think about it, Kalu. So Tinubu with all his wealth. The 6 months or so that he spent in London taking care of his medical issues was paid by Lagos State taxpayers' money because it was part of his pension.
Well, what can we say?
How do people sleep?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Enoch. I completely hear you. Completely agree with the sentiments raised. But let's move on. Let's. We have an election coming up, right? So these are what elections are for, to sort of like agree policy with aspiration. So let's hope everyone looks at it that way. All right.
Very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for also the patience to wait. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, Sotonye. Hi, Sotonye MB. What's up?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
How you doing, sir? What's up?
I'm good, thank you. So I feel we have a huge spending problem and an ego problem also, because states and leaders of the states do not leverage on assets their neighboring states have when they making economic decisions.
Okay.
For example, no matter the kind of resources they have in a state that needs to be transported or exported, they can easily leverage the airport in Anambra State or any neighboring state, building a rail system that can move those export goods to those airports. There was a similar airport being built in Bayelsa State, an international airport, when Bayelsa is less than an hour's drive from Port Harcourt. And where do most Bayelsa people travel to? They travel to Delta State, they travel to River State and Lagos State. Now, for the 2 out of these 3 states, they are within an hour's drive. So those people will most likely not get on the plane to make that journey. So it is more of it is more for the ego of the sitting governor that I commissioned this project. I built this in my time. It's more like a showcase.
True. I agree.
A real of their time in office. So than anything else, because there are so many states who by proximity to another state can leverage on the infrastructure the neighboring states have to bring economic development to them. Ogun State is very close to Lagos State. If there is a high-speed rail line between these two states, Ogun State can benefit a lot from the development in Lagos State. So that's basically what I wanted to share.
I agree with you completely. Yeah, thanks for saying that. Appreciate that. Okay, let me get this guy to speak. Itumo Martins.
Yes.
Sorry, names are hard to do on Twitter. How you doing?
I'm fine, sir.
Great.
I want to appreciate you first. You've been provoking conversations that are helpful for our polity in Nigeria. I'm from a boy, so but I'm not taking what you're saying personally. In fact, a lot of people have been saying this, both within the state and outside the state. But my personal opinion, the airport is not our priority as at this moment. So I agree with you on that. I just want to talk about some peculiarities we have in the state, which made it look like the airport is something to be glorified. It is not. One is on education. Now, a lot of people have been saying that the state, the educational level is not much. The indigenous are not, going to school. I want to say this. From the time the state was created, the first governor did a lot of work on education. Anybody that knows about my state will agree on that. That is, Sam is in the Senate now. He did a lot of work on education. In fact, a lot of scholarships, a lot of incentives to make people go to school. But the problem is that after going to school, what are the infrastructures that will keep you in the state? I can tell you, I went to school in Ebonyi. I went to university in Ebonyi. I can tell you that I can say it's about 10% of my classmates that are still in Ebonyi. Others have left. I mean, left to other states in Nigeria that have the infrastructure to retain them. So one thing is, yes, infrastructure is lacking in the state, and the governor is doing that. It's just that he's now going overboard with the airport, which, well, I don't know, he says it's futuristic. But there are other things that he's doing that kind of retains people in the state and makes people to invest in the state. The second thing I want to comment on is that you asked the question, why is the state poor? I want to kind of respond to that. The thing is that with poverty, it's been a long time, attribute of the state. But the problem is that the investments that have been made in the state are not investments that will give people a means of livelihood. So building an airport, yes, it will employ few people, but it will not employ the greater number of people that investment is worth. If you are putting let's say 2 billion, if you are putting 2 billion Naira down as an investment, you should be able to hold together not less than 2,000 people and give them job and pensionable jobs. But the airport cannot do that. So I would have wished a situation whereby investments like this are made where it can retain people, give them means of livelihood. In fact, what we lack in the state is a place where people can work and make money. And it's not in any other place other than something that can mass production, industries that can mass produce. The kind of industries that we have in Amara, those are the kind of industries that we need in the state. But investments are not going there. Investments are not going to white elephant projects. So I will agree with you, but we have peculiarities that make it look like the project is what everybody is glorifying. We've not seen it before. So when it came, people were hands up in the air praising the governor as if he has done, magic. But in the long run, we'll get to feel that this is not what we need at this moment. So that is what I have to say. But on any other, there are infrastructural development that the governor is doing that I am happy with. In fact, opening up roads to the rural area. He's done. In fact, there is no. I can't count any village that you go to in Ebonyi that is not connected by a road. In the last 8 years, he has connected every village in the state.
So he's done pretty well on that infrastructure side and all that. Yeah. But just the focusing on the maybe job creation, organic job creation in the state. I mean, you guys have a lot of rice, have a lot of limestone, minerals, all that kind of stuff.
I wish he was thinking in that direction, but he's not. He's not. You are even talking about this airport. There is also another project that people were not happy with. Ecumenical Center. In fact, it's a hall that from what I heard, is like thousands of capacity. It can take a lot of people. When Usibanjo was in the state, last month, that was where they hosted it. It was a very large place, and he spent a lot of money doing that. So people were asking, what would this mean for the state? Will it give people food? Will it create jobs? How many people can it provide for? But those are just. But let us also agree that the leaders that we have are also thinking like the commoners. If you go to Ebonyi now, everybody that has money is building a hotel.
Do you guys get a lot of influx of people into Ebonyi, like on the weekend, like how Enugu gets people every weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What happened is that at the time Ebonyi is like the holiday place. Like you want to relax, you are going to Ebonyi. If you want to club, you are going to Ebonyi. If you want to
in Ebonyi,
you are going to Ebonyi. So there are many hotels in the town, in Abakaliki, there are many hotels. I used to if people should have built industries instead of those hotels, people will not be as poor as they used to be there. But investment decisions are not the forte of everybody. There are people who have money, but they don't know where to put the money. So that is the problem.
Yeah, good background, or just back behind the scenes look for us. Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that for us. Thank you so much. Yeah. So just have one last speaker, and then Enna and I will just close it out. I got Victabia. Sorry, Twitter name. Sorry. I know Nigerian names, but just Twitter names. Victabia. Victabia, hi. Are you there? Victabia going once, Victabia going twice. Enna, I hope you're still there, Enna, right? Thanks for hanging out. I mean, it's a confusing topic to, sort of like, to unflesh, We started off with saying, is it a spending problem? Is it a revenue problem? We went back to the fact of the multiplier. You brought this idea of that, listen, we have to really, institutionalize and sort of document, if I could use that simple word, our decision-making process. We just can't build a railway or a runway. We have to go back and do some studies and see how does this, for instance, create a job, or how does this help the economy before we do it. All well and good, all agreeable. Is there a way forward? Like, could we just leave bullet points 1, 2, 3 to close this out and say, this is what we really want to see, maybe 1, 2, 3 bullet points? Do you have like really short bullet points we could just take to go think of and say, this is what I learned from this whole space for the next, I was here for 2 hours and this is what I picked up?
First is long-term planning. Secondly is innovative approaches to asset acquisition, because it's actually asset acquisition and it's not just buying, it's what you call cost of ownership. Because over 10 years, the cost of development, cost of management, maintenance sometimes overpasses the cost of development. Then thirdly, you can also work with data, because the essence of an airport, for example, is to capture data. Because if you look at data from Heathrow Airport, Dubai Airport, so if you have a data outlook, like the data age, Then thirdly, we should look at the soft elements of infrastructure. Like I mentioned about Ireland. Ireland is the leasing hub of aircraft in the world. What does that mean? They have about 5,000 aircraft there to be leased. What about $150 billion in the asset worth? We need to soft element of infrastructure and not the hard. So now, if to embark on these projects, we should design them in a way. In the UK, it's called the most economically advantageous tender. We should design the project in a way that whoever manages the projects, the money does not leave the states. Because what I've noticed from our own research, most of these major projects, airports, big roads, are not even done by contractors in the states. So at the end of the day, even when the project comes and goes, there's a capital flight out of the state. So I think we should ensure that the project is designed in a way that the money and irrigation kind of strategy stays and cycles around the state. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what I took from you is the long-term planning. I mean, China does this 10-year planning, all right? They say this is their intent for the next 10 years. I think Nigeria should really do that. I mean, whatever party rules, we know that we need a new road or new express road from the ports in Lagos to say maybe Abeokuta or Ibadan. We know we need that. We need a railway from Lagos to East, right? It's just when do we do it? How much should it be done? We can't have parties coming every 8 years and then doing their own plan and then not doing the plan and then leaving. So the next president in 2022 is going to inherit a lot of projects. Some started by the APC, some started by the PDP, some started by the military. You know, this long-term planning, Vision 2020, where did it go to? Did we achieve that? Why can't we go back and say, what did we achieve, hope to achieve? Have a long-term plan. Whatever political party is coming in knows, okay, these are the guardrails I can't go out of. In the US, whoever you are, Republican or Democrat, you can't come tomorrow and be like, oh, you want to increase taxes by 100%, or you're not going to invest in, say, infrastructure. I mean, there are a few things that they do agree on, right, in terms of the hard economic decisions. I think we need that here in Nigeria as well. Give some certainty to investors, right, so they can plan out what's going to happen. That's what I believe, long-term planning, and they allow the states to make their own decisions, and then those states can own more fiscal revenues that they can invest in line with their long-term plans. I think that would help. We can't demand states to work and they have no tax revenues, just pay. I think that's also a big problem for also in Nigeria. So guys, thanks so much for listening. It's been a pleasure as usual having you guys on, even though this was like an emergency in quotes spaces that we had, and you guys were all in here. I appreciate you guys once again. I'll see you guys on Saturday. I'm trying to, if you're a small business owner or you own a business in Nigeria and you have treasury, i.e. you manage your own cash, you want to tune in on Saturday. I'm going to bring in some guys that have this app. They're fintech in Nigeria, existing, well known. They have this brand new app, right? So if you're like a small business, or you are in a business and you have cash, right? Maybe you have the cash in the bank, moving cash from bank A to bank B. You just feel, man, how can I maximize this cash I have? How can I make money off my cash? I'm not spending it today, or I'm not spending it next month. Can I earn apart from leaving it in the bank? I have a solution for you on Saturday. Yeah, so tune in. I think it's going to be 7 or 8. Tune in. We'll speak to the guys from Cowrie Wise, right? All right, super guys. I'll see you guys next week. Get my book, guys. Get my book. Give you guys all the books we did quotes about the development. We've posted it out on the Twitter link. So all the books, the Startup Nation, Jim Odvia's new book, Ike Mokode's book. Some guys also helped out with that. So it's all on the TL. Just go in there or just do the hashtag FinPlan books. You see all those books there. They are wonderful. Read, learn, and implement. That's really what we try to talk about. All right, guys, take good care. I'll see you guys. I'm going to shut down the space in 5. And Anna, thank you so much again, as usual. I do appreciate you doing this. Shut down.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. 5, 4, 3, 2.